What was that?
Perfect. You want to be that guy?
Everybody's losing their shit.
We apologize. We are interrupting your daily broadcast on this emergency news.
What's the CNBC? Markets in turmoil. Everybody loses their shit. Everybody's got to talk about the market going down. But what's up, everybody? Welcome to DC TV. It is a special live stream outside of the norm. But we decided that because there's so much going on, and it seems as if there are headlines every minute today, we come back on and just talk to you guys about everything that's been happening. It seems as if we chatted about so much stuff this morning, and just it has increased exponentially of all the shit that's been happening. So we got our fearless leader, Peter Saddington is with us this evening. We appreciate you popping on, my man. We also got Tamp, obviously, and my main man, Jaime, next to me. Guys, first reactions to today so far.
Everything we were waiting on hopefully would happen later. God damn it, it's happening now.
Right,
So
exactly.
it's very exciting.
This reminds me, I'm sorry to cut you off, Tamp, but this reminds me of like, I don't know if you guys have ever found yourself scrolling through TikTok and wasting every second of your fucking life. But there was one time when I was scrolling through, and for some reason it started feeding me wedding proposals, not wedding proposals, but marry me proposals. And it was all like the the emotional music and the girl being surprised or whoever. And several of those clips, this is what you just said reminded me of, is the girl looks at the guy who's standing on one knee and looking up, and she's going, is now the time? Is it now? Is it happening right now? Why are you doing this? I'm in fucking sweatpants. Like, I'm not even prepared. That was actually one of the funny clips, is the girl was just like, you can't do this to me right now. I'm in sweatpants. So it's November 9th, guys. It's Wednesday. What a random day for a absolute just smack in the groin. Is
Hell hath no fury. Hell hath
Hell
no
yeah.
fury.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you're here, Peter. I definitely want to hear your thoughts, but I'm going to give mine, and I know they're going to sharply be different than what Don, who just came on, has to say. And I think that's good, though, because two very different approaches, and neither one I think are wrong. You just have to be very confident in your skill set. I really do. I mean, if you know how to trade this stuff, trade it. But if you are not a good trader and you only know how to trade in a bull market, boy, don't try to catch this falling knife. You're going to get cut.
The falling knife is the key, guys. If you are not experienced, Don Fran is a trained professional, guys. Yeah, so keep that in mind. Do not get in. If you got fuck you money or any funds, you better assume you're losing it. Okay, guys?
This is how you get FU money, though.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
I'm buy the dip. I mean, where is the dip actually going to dip down to? Is that
That's
is
right.
really the question.
far-
I'm glad you're here for this because
That's what we'll talk
Tam
about.
and I have the answers. One of us does.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I got my checkbook open then. Okay.
One of us is a little more accurate.
How far is the tip going?
Yeah, just the tip.
Yeah, I will not touch anything for a couple of days. I mean, Don, do you want to go first? Peter, what are you going to do? How do you want to do this?
I think
This is gonna be all over.
before we get into any type of price action stuff, I think it's important to, some people might just be clocking in today. They just got off of their day job. They haven't been connected to the tweeters or the Instagram ruse or the TikToker ruse, so they don't even know what's going on. So Brad, give us the TLDR. What is happening this Wednesday, November 9th, which created a desire or need for us to come on an emergency live stream? What the hell is going on? I was on Discord when Brad's like, I'm loading up the live stream. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's right up your alley.
Is it now? Is now the time? I'm in fucking sweatpants.
Right now, random doing. I'm there. So here you are.
Remember Simon Oxley with his?
I was going to say,
It's
I
another day.
figured Peter would be getting boners off of this one.
He
But
is.
so here's the TLDR. So this all started over the weekend. Sam Bankman-Fried basically has been talking shit about CZ and really to the regulators, and it was really kind of pissing CZ off. So then he's like, hey, fine, fuck you guys. I'll just pull my $2 billion out of FTT and then just watch the fireworks happen. While everybody else grabbed their popcorn, we saw FTT tank 84% in like 12 hours, and now it's ultimately down around 94%. As of right now, it's probably falling even more than that.
Yeah.
And Sam Bankman-Fried went from being a billionaire to not a billionaire in less than 24 hours.
$6 billion to less than $1 billion, guys.
Come on, guys. But you all know you only lose or lock in those losses when you sell.
That is
Just
true.
on paper.
That is true.
Only on
No,
paper.
that is horse shit. Sorry. I'll fight that. I make fun of that all the time.
So the reason it sold off was because Sam Bankman-Fried didn't have the liquidity there for people to be pulling their money out. Well, actually, let me back that up. So CZ ends up pulling his money, and then everybody else loses their mind and then pull their money. So then FTX has a liquidity issue, and they're like, "Fuck, we don't have the money to actually support all of the selling." So then CZ says, "All right, fine, we'll come in and give you the money. In exchange, we will acquire your company."
Yeah, well, as Sam actually reached out to.
Yes, I'm sorry. You're right. You're correct.
Yeah.
So then,
Sam saw what the order book was doing.
Correct.
And he reached out to CZ and said, "Bro, you fucked me." Like to be quite frank, I had a moment when I was reading the Twitter sphere and I saw that Sam Bankman-Fried had reached out to CZ. That was literally my thought process. Is if I was in Sam's position, I'd be hitting up CZ and be like, "Dude, why did you do this to me? like why? Like, I understand your radical transparency and your funds are Seifu and that you want to let everybody know that you're liquidating $500 million of my shit, like all onto the like, bro, let a brother know is what I'd say. I'd be like, hey, if you're going to dump $500 million, like, let me know so I can do something. So there's going to be a lot of color commentary, a lot of pundits, a lot of crypto pundits, a lot of political pundits, a lot of news pundits, a lot of financial pundits I think are going to steamroll CZ for doing this. I'm gonna leave that there for now because we can color comment on what we think is going to be the outcome. We won't know, but man, I can totally see CZ getting steamrolled for this, and it's going to be really interesting to see how he deals with this because he's been so good at communicating effectively out to the community and out to the people of the world, the crypto world, of what he's doing. And you just wonder sometimes because, like, I won't share anything here, but I'll leave it at this. We've all been in positions where our over transparency kind of gets us screwed a little bit, right? So I'll just leave it there.
Yeah, but no doubt about it. I mean, at the end of the day, Daddy CZ smacked his son, Sam, and said, "You've been doing too much for all the wrong reasons. And just like all the others in line, bend the knee, son." That is exactly what happened. And we really see who's in charge now. I mean, and they're out. They're out of this acquisition, which to me right now, purely speculation, means one thing. Sam, you're going to jail, son.
Really?
Yes.
That's what I believe. The only way that CZ doesn't acquire FTX is if their books were legit, just illiquid. The fact that they are not just illiquid, but you're walking away means you don't want to deal with the legal issues associated with the illiquidity. And that means Sam lent out user funds. Illegal, jail, baby.
Yeah, it's tough.
Some call it fraud, you know.
I think they're going to cut his hair in there too.
They're going to give him a soap on a rope and tell him to have a good day. That is what they're going to do.
Well, we are close to the V for Vendetta, right? Was it? Remember the 5th of November. So we're only 4 days off from the shaving heads of didn't she have to shave her head as part of the right, the rite of passage of being freed and liberated. So maybe Sam Bankman-Fried will end up with a shaved head, and he'll be walking through the streets just like in Game of Thrones with shame. I don't know. I mean, I think both are going to get fried on both sides for this. I think,
but Peter,
why is CZ going to get fried? Because he blinded this other guy.
Because so before Sunday, Bankman was molding himself in the U.S. Almost like, hey man, pass the regulations, pass everything, but set FTX up.
Yes.
Fuck the crypto community.
Correct.
Fuck the decentralization. KYC every motherfucker out there. You know, everything that goes against the principles of all this. And now imagine CZ invested and funded FTX's launch.
Billions of dollars.
Also. Yes.
Yep.
So now seeing this, and then even Bankman goading CZ like, oh, I wish you were in DC. Oh, yeah, that's right. You can't come. You know, kind of like, yeah, you're over there. I'm the one that's going to build this world without you kind of thing. So, of course, and CZ was very transparent on Sunday when all this triggered, saying, all right, there's some backstabbing here we do not agree on that the whole community is going to suffer about. Either suffer through transparency or suffer through legislation being pushed in favor of someone doing everything against the crypto community globally speaking. So
yeah, I'm not. You guys know, like, if there's anyone in this world that knows how much I love CZ, you guys, know. Like, he's
without a doubt,
like the man.
It's like that Asian brotherhood thing. Is that what it is?
Yeah, no.
Asian connection, and we don't understand. Is that what it is, bro? People do this too when they try to hand me the card, and they're like, "Do you know this person?
What the fuck are you talking about?"
And it's like the same thing. It's the same thing. It's like, he's Asian. You know him. Y'all are both in the crypto world. Y'all like probably go to dinner and shit.
What? Let me answer that, Peter. So a lot of what Peter speaks to us as a community, as a company, and everything in terms of radical transparency is exactly what CZ has been doing. So yes, I'll answer that card as a minority also, Peter. It isn't the Asian card.
I won't say much to this. He's just far more Asian than I am. I'm actually, if you didn't,
that's a thing? That's a thing?
If you turn this off, like I sound like a white guy. So
he's a banana. You know, Peter's our banana. He's our.
I am the banana. Maybe it's just because I've just watched too many Batman movies. You know, where he's not the hero you need, type of stuff. You're only the good guy until you become the bad guy. Maybe that's just where my mentality is today, and maybe that's what the mentality I brought into this equation as I'm thinking about this. But maybe it's just because I've suffered so much. Can't you see the pain behind my eyes of a good man who I respect and adore? Like, I don't mind saying the word adore. A good man who I respect and adore. I just feel like the world's going to look at this, and try to drag him through the mud for it. Even though I believe in his heart of hearts, he's done everything that he can do within his power. They opened up the hood. They looked under the hood and they said, "Shit. You said you had a V10 in here. All you got is a full fucking four-bagger. Like, what the fuck is this shit?"
And it's stolen.
It was making a lot of noise, and maybe it's just because you fucking punched holes in your muffler. It sounded like it was fucking huge. And
why does every piece under the hood have a different VIN number? This shit is not good.
So I think I see where Peter's coming from, because it's not that CZ wasn't the hero here, because he uncovered some really ugly shit that was going on with FTX. Right. But I think that's why, because of all the money that was wrapped up into FTX. I mean, fucking Tom Brady had $650 million of his net worth in FTX.
Canadian pension plans also tied, like
other institutions, Goldman Sachs, like all of them were piling in the FTX and investing in them. And I don't know how this even happened. Like, how does they gain this type of notoriety without anybody looking under the hood other than fucking CZ?
It's just like the Theranos. It's just like I'm sorry for cutting you off, Don.
No,
it's just like the Theranos. Like Theranos suckered Warren Buffett, right?
Yeah.
Theranos suckered the biggest investors on the planet, right? And so it's very similar in that regard. But let's keep tracking along this narrative here, because I think what you're touching on is exactly my point. Is there is a lot of wealth wrapped up in this, and this wealth is not just retail, guys getting, shish kebabbed by this. It's high net worth individuals, institutions who will look at you, off the record and say, "Man, why don't we just fucking leave it alone? Why did CZ have to do this?" Like, I got Tom Brady. Why did this China man do this to me? Is
right.
Could be as simplistic as the narrative is. And let's be honest, right now, America, China, America, Russia, America, The relationships from a political angle can be so inflamed. And so I think that is my personal consideration and my personal issues with this, because I can see this moving into the political realm. And then when it goes in the political realm, all logic, all rationale, all like even conversations like the ones that we're having here, it's going to get thrown out the window. It's just going to be absolute, dick yanking and screaming at the high, to the high heavens about what's going on and just pointing and blame game. And I feel like CZ is going to get, fucking rickrolled through this.
The whistleblower always gets fucked.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's like Snowden.
I mean, it's terrible because you can actually see, and everyone forgets, he actually left China because he moved Binance out of China because he was also getting ringed by his own people because they were trying to get rid of anything crypto that was liberating or outside of the communist control. So they're going to forget about that. And I agree with you. It's terrible that it takes guys, don't let the veil be pulled over your eyes when all this comes down. He did the transparency thing. He's always been transparent, and not because we're fanboys. Is fuck. Look at all his tweets, all the work he's done,
right,
and everything he's set up. It always has been to protect the user, to protect the community itself. And I guess he chose the lesser of two evils, either domination by someone like SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, into the crypto sphere where there's over-regulation to where it crushes the investor and actually scams the money out of everyone else, or let the truth be known and let the cards lay where they just shine the light and see what happens or react as best as you can.
You made the bed. Now you lie in it.
Throw that last tweet up. Actually, that last tweet is super revealing if you think about it. That last tweet is not asking for help. It's not asking for diligence. They have already done the diligence. They have looked under the hood. They said it was a V12, V10. It's a fucking 4-banger. And this is his concession. This is literally his, this is it. Sad day, period. We uncovered some shit. Sawi,
that's a big bro.
Banana. This is kind of probably the most apropos response that he could possibly give. It's exactly the two things. Sad day for everybody. Like, there's nobody winning here. He tried.
Exactly. But this is exactly what it is. And anybody who's a father, Peter, I'm kind of speaking to you, but anybody who's a father or a parent can relate. CZ and Binance incubated FTX. Yes. They brought this guy up. They taught him how to do it. They showed him the blueprints. They raised him right. And then he went and did some weird shit. Maybe he got on meth. Who knows? And they tried for a long time. Bro, get off of that. It's bad for you. It's bad for us. We didn't raise you like this. And to the point of no return, where when you do some real bad stuff and get in trouble and now you're messing with the law and you're behind bars, now as a dad, you're just like, listen, I raised you right. I tried to guide you when I saw you were going down the wrong path. But at this point, like, you got to do the time, bro. Like, this isn't what we raised you for. You're better than this. And you wipe your hands of it. I mean, it's the perfect analogy for what is happening.
The part that stands out, though, is if that's your kid, you can just have him arrested. This is like he had a full-blown press conference. Like, hey, I want to let everyone know, wake the neighborhood up. Like, this all seems. Now I live on the other side of the fence, so some of that stuff seems a little bit off to me. It seems obvious. One, you're about to have just billions worth of transactions, and you couldn't figure this out beforehand. You had to go on Twitter and air this out. Like, there are things, like, I feel like a lot of this could have been dealt behind the scenes. There could have been things that are fixed. There could have been, hey, we're going to detach. We're going to separate ourselves. But why so publicly?
Because we don't know what happened behind the scenes. We don't know how many times CZ said, right the ship, fix this. You're doing things wrong. You're on the news constantly on CNN talking about regulation. You're in DC touting me. You're talking about donating $1 billion to a particular political party. You're doing everything that crypto stands for backwards. You're taking us the wrong way. You're going to bring down the empire unless there's some massive, massive, drastic change. And how many times was he warned before CZ said, I can't lose the empire, although I love my son? And did what he had to do.
And
You just need spanked.
yeah, so to clarify, I just wanted, so what Tamp's referring to, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but Sam Bankman-Fried, the direction he was going in was in a centralized direction.
Yes.
And
government, the suits call the shots, not the community.
right. And that is what, you know, it goes against everything that cryptocurrency and Bitcoin in particular stands for. So like that is why this is such a big deal.
So politicians get involved, and then we see weird stuff happening.
It's a conflagration of many, many things that are really core and central to cryptocurrency and decentralization. I mean, so what we have is an absolute wipeout of massive amounts of wealth from everyone on the spectrum. We have an operator, Sam Bankman-Fried, who is now going down, and this is gonna be months before we actually find like what really is kind of the juicy details of all of this, and maybe have over leveraged or whatever. We can create hypotheses and theses all we want around it. But at the same time, you don't want to praise the loss of this huge entity and the potential. I think I look at it as kind of like kinetic energy. There's so much potential that Sam Bankman-Fried had, but he was taking us in the wrong direction. He was handing us over to the suits and ties, and he was handing us over to centralization. So there's going to be a massive amount of fallout from this, not only from the cryptocurrency community and the obvious financial implications, but what I'm most curious about, and I think a lot of people, especially in the institutional level, are really curious about, is how is this going to affect legislation? How is it going to affect the rules and new oversight committees and new regulatory constraints that are put upon us, new audit considerations? I mean, it is already hard right now. Like, so I don't know all the details, but I'll tell you that right now it is almost fucking impossible to build a cryptocurrency exchange under the current auspices of our current regulatory regime. It's just, it's so hard.
Well, we'll start seeing the death of central exchanges with this. We will. I think DEXs are going to be hugely and wildly important.
They need to be.
So
that's literally in line with the space.
That's exactly where I was going. Is that out of the ashes of all of this, it's not fucking fun.
Comes
obviously.
the Doge.
Stay focus, guys. Focus. DEX, DEX,
Don't interrupt them.
Decentralized
I
exchange.
was about to go into a Doge dance.
No.
No, let's not do that. No. So there's going to be great flourishing and prosperity that's going to come out of this because people have been so scorned and people have been so burnt. There's going to be operators that are going to come out of this and say, man, I lost my ass. And you know what? The best revenge is building the next thing that's better.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, there's so much. I think if there's anything, and this is something that I thought about when you were speaking, Tam, DCTV should be a major go-to source for the long tail of this narrative, so that not only can we say, well, obviously we're there, but we were color commenting through it the entire time. I think DCTV should be, and this is what I was thinking about when you were talking, Tam, like DCTV should be quoted. Like when Tam says something outrageous, CNBC CNBC and CNN should pick that shit up because they don't research. They just heard Tamp on DCTV, this really popular streaming place for crypto people and Web3 people. And Tamp said that SB, Sam Bankman-Fried should eat a dick, and because no research necessary. So we need to keep getting to let's leverage this as an opportunity to make sure that we're quotable.
I mean, our beloved John McAfee said he'd eat his dick if certain things happened. So
everyone was asking.
He got whacked. So.
Yeah.
R.I.P. John.
Cheers.
Yep.
I need to get a beer.
To John.
Yeah.
Get your Corona, my man.
What's everyone think about this? So tell me something real quick. How much Bitcoin was Binance buying FTX with Bitcoin?
FTX.
What does FTX and Binance have to do with Bitcoin at all?
That's a good
Well-
question. So just to set the table, and Don, again, if I just want to provide clarity to this question. So, because of this whole situation with FTX and Binance, we've seen a ripple effect in the entire crypto space, and then it's also carried on over to the traditional markets as well. The Dow ended the day down over 600 points. The Nasdaq was down nearly 3% on the day. So it's been felt across the entire world of finance. So I think what Don's asking is, what does this have to do with everything else that's been happening within crypto, and how has it trickled over into the overall market as well?
So this involves regulation, Don. Literally, I mean, when there's a meltdown like this, or like 2008, there is a lot of reckoning that comes with this type of meltdown that involves all the industries. Of course, Bitcoin being the granddaddy of it all, and the first iteration, and the one that's which guides the entire market, would be affected by something of this nature, because it involves the industry that was spawned from Bitcoin and the technology that Bitcoin represents.
So is Bitcoin lost in this transaction?
No, and I think this is what Don's asking. How is this going to affect traditional markets and price? Because Don is coming from a trading perspective. What this means is that all the coins, including Bitcoin and ETH, that FTX held is going to go right back on the market and sold to try to make anybody or any lender right at all.
Yes.
So a list is being leaked right now. It is unconfirmed if it is a true and official list, but there is a list of about 500 tokens that FTX holds right now. In my opinion, about 12 of them are worth a shit. The rest are terrible, which is in and of itself why FTX is partly in this position, because they kept bringing on a whole bunch of crap coins. And you hear about it all the time to the likes of Coinbase or anybody else. Why are you leading new money and new retail into some bullshit that's only going to burn them and make them go away forever and scorn crypto for their life? That is part of the reason that I'm sure CZ was pissed. Why are you bringing in all this BS? So you have this huge ledger sheet that FTX holds that is going to be pushed back onto the market. A big chunk of that is Solana. Solana has a very good chance to go all the way to zero right now. Do we know that? No, we don't know that. It might bounce back and come back with a vengeance, and you can pick it up at ICO levels, but it's got a good chance. So all the ETH and all the Bitcoin that FTX holds is going to hit right back on the market. The problem with that is the timing. You just had a seizure of $3.1 billion worth of Bitcoin that's going to be pushed back on the market as well. You have CPI coming out this week. Tomorrow. You have all these things happening right now that if the FTX dropping in and of itself in a silo, it wouldn't be near the story that it is right now. We're in a bear market. This is at the tail end of a whole bunch of other business foreclosures. You got CPI coming out. It's just a black swan, perfect storm, whatever you want to call it. That is the effect on the price of Bitcoin. Is everything they had is going to get pushed. It's just like when Do Kwon, it's not the exact same thing, but when Luna was collapsing and Do Kwon had all the thousands of Bitcoin that they had as collateral, sold it back on the market. That's the issue that Bitcoin holders will have, not the fact that Luna is imploding. They don't care. So again, with this, no, some people don't care that FTX is imploding. They care that all the coins that they held are now going to go right back on the market and dilute the market and lower the prices further.
And you brought up a good question.
Real quick before you follow up with that, Brandon, I just want to invite everybody who is just tuning into the live stream today. We haven't done one call to action, so I'm going to do it. Check out our Discord, guys. The link is in the description. Also, if you don't do anything else, at the very least, hit that thumbs up. I certainly would appreciate it. And then also make sure you're subscribing and hitting that notification bell. We'll be live again on Friday to go over whatever the hell else happens. Maybe before then, we'll see. So make sure you're hitting that notification bell, because there may be some impromptu live streams in between now and then. But go ahead, Brandon. Sorry about that.
It's true. No, this is going to be the place to pick up the spicy.
Yes.
We got the spicy. So what I was going to say, though, is a lot of these exchanges say they have a bunch of these coins, but what if they don't have all of the amount of Bitcoin that they publish, right? Like, what if they actually don't have that amount? What they did is thought they could play with liquidity pools that their own decentralized servers are handling, and they say, we have, actually 20% more Bitcoin than they actually have. Well, they can't pay people out if they don't have it, right? At that point, you would see them have to actually go and buy it and give people that amount after they resolve certain things. And we've already seen this happen. Like I know a lot of people are part of this new school of cryptocurrency people, and we've already seen stuff like this happen. This isn't like the first time this has happened. Like, Peter, you want to give him a story of Mt. Gox?
I lost money on that. Like I've been in Bitcoin and crypto since 2011, so I've seen every single cycle, and I've lost money on some of these major hackings and major exchanges in the past. My greatest loss was when Vitalik Buterin centralized Ethereum. People will argue with me, semantics, potato, about that, but they took my money and then they reverted the old chain. So what was the point of decentralization then? It's even more centralized now. I won't go on a rant. Not that I have any opinions about Ethereum.
Do it.
But
Do it.
like these are not new things, and we don't. Please, for those that are out there, like, don't ever think that we're making light of this situation. This is a horrible situation that has happened.
Yeah.
It is a situation that we would wish on no one to ever experience. But I will say that the crowd in front of you guys on DC TV, all of us have been through this, and all of us have lost our asses by making uninformed, poor decisions based on emotional choices because of market FOMO in the past. Like, we've all been there. We've all made rash decisions. We've all got juiced up about some particular token with no diligence. We've all been there. So when we laugh about it, we laugh mostly because we're just nervous about ourselves and like anxious for everybody else, because we've been in those shoes. We've been in that hot seat where we're seeing our net worth evaporate in front of our faces. And so, guys, don't ever feel that if we're laughing, it's mostly we're laughing out of anxiety for the entire cryptocurrency community, because it's more than just because we're deeply invested in tokens and currencies. It's because we're operators in this space. We're building in the cryptocurrency space, in the Web3 space. And so for us, we want only expansion, only growth, only positivity. Now, we're not gonna have that. It's the wild west of crypto still, clearly. And as we move even more into the ethereal world of Web3, which no one can fucking define for me. I mean, I feel like I have a pretty good definition, but then again, other people will be like, "Oh no, this is Web3 too." It's like, well, and now we have Jack from Dorsey from Twitter already telling us about Web5. Thanks, fuckstick. Like, how do we get past Web3? Like, we're not even in Web3 yet, and he's like, "Here's Web5." I mean, we might as well just iterate through it and call it Web 14. Isn't that what the iPhone's at right now? But we've all, guys, I'm rambling, but we're in the market. We're with you guys. Yeah. We see the pain. We want prosperity. We want people to win through this. And as a last note here, I think people who are into Bitcoin, they don't actually see this as big of a deal, because most Bitcoiners are just hodling it. Yes. Anyway. Absolutely. They're saying I told you so, but we are going to give you two options at least. We're going to give you the trading option from Don, and we're going to give you the hodl option from me. I know that for sure. On what now? What the hell do I do? Here I am. Now what?
Which there's a couple things I want to ask. So two things. I don't want to go too crazy of a rant on this. I did want to get Peter's take on this. So Peter, on DC TV, I actually talked. Now I don't want to get a big head or anything, because it's crypto, and my strength is probably following big money in the stock world. But I called out this exact move, because Bitcoin is kind of like just sideways. There's the triangle pattern most traders are talking about. And I even said, like, we're probably going to break above, people are going to get excited, and then drops down, which plays out to a T. So would you say that's more just coincidentally right? Or
I think you were following the tea leaves. And I think you were also maybe discounting the amount of perfume in the air from hanging out with these crypto heads all the time. Over time, they tend to bleed into the pores, and you kind of start talking like a crypto head, even though you don't know it. It's kind of like doing, cocaine one time. It's back. No, it's not. No, not cocaine. It's acid. Acid sits in the back of your spine. Not that I would know. I'm just saying sometimes it just, it stays in the spine and just comes out, and you just it'd be like, okay, shit, I just had a trip. Here's what I really wanted to say. Jaime, and I believe Anne, and I also believe the data lord here, Brandon, as well as myself, all have public pronouncements, I know I do, of videos months ago saying that we believe the bottom was going to be in November.
We did.
And
that is completely verifiable for anyone. All those internet sleuths and fact checkers, Wikipedia, fuck off. Like
it's on DC TV. They're watching
it's been on DC TV since we started.
So you can grow a big head about it if you'd like, Don Fran, but I think all of us are kind of in the same boat. We knew that this was going to happen. We've lived through the cycles ourselves, and the tea leaves were telling us that October, November is going to most likely be the bottom of it. Did we expect it was going to be an explosion of this epic proportions in your pants? Probably not. Sometimes you fart when you sneeze.
Yep. Fire sale on Podgies.
Yeah, it's capitulation for a reason. It's a violent fucking diarrhea drop.
So no one saw this coming, even though billions are about to be moved. No
Not
one.
like this.
Wait.
No.
Repeat the question.
No one saw this coming. Don't say not like this. This stuff happens in the stock market all the time.
I mean, no one saw this conflagration of variables happening. I think there's not a single person who could conjure up a stew that says the ingredients were Sam Bankman-Fried, FTX plus Binance plus the CPIs plus a shitty depression market that's the worst depression since 1981. Plus, I mean, like it's almost impossible to conjure up some sort of alchemy that would say, yeah, I knew this exactly was going to happen this way. I think we all saw that in so many areas of the financial apparatus around us and the financial frameworks and models around us that something was going to break. And you hate to side with the doomsayers, the guys who are always on YouTube are like, in 32 days, how did you know that exactly? 32? It's not 33? 32 days, the world's going to end. I've been seeing these videos that have been popping up that China's going to die in 12 days. Like, oh, really? 12 days?
I've seen that.
Amazing.
9 days.
How did you know this? Like, amazing. So I don't want to side with those guys because those guys are always right 1 point in a decade.
Yeah.
Broken clock is right twice a day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, I think there's enough evidence that we've all lived through. I mean, we're all grown ass adults. We've lived through this. We've seen the shenanigans and the craziness and the terrible policies that have been enacted globally. Let's just put it that way. And I think we're getting to a final hedge, really, to a point where it's like we were brittle before. Now we're just starting to crack and break,
Yeah, I'm excited for this. Bitcoin finally needed to move. I don't care what the excuse is. I'm just glad it's headed south. We're even doing this stream. The second point I wanted to bring, so as a consumer, I'm not a crypto nerd, what does this mean for everyone? Like, because YouTubers were pumping FTX. It's the reason I'm not in FTX is because I get so tired of all the YouTubers talking about it.
Oh my God. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So
it was unbelievable.
What do the YouTube followers, what are they? Let's leave the nerd talk out. If it has more than 15 syllables, you can't say it, right? Like just what does this mean? Brass tacks for everybody that they followed the YouTube link, they got FTX, they bought some things, and they got an app on their phone that says something.
Right now the app says that your balance is zero.
Yes, but this is very important. Yeah, and this is going to be lessons learned on what those people need to do right now. And this is real talk, no bullshit. Yeah. Right now, FTX, the website has already gone down once. I am not sure if it's up again. But if you held any value on FTX whatsoever, the number one thing you need to do is get any remaining funds off of the platform if you can. You might not be able to. Number two, get on that platform and screenshot every last piece of value and transaction that you had on that platform. Because if and when that platform goes away forever, do not think that you will be dismissed or removed from any sort of legal repercussion that happens here, especially if you lost your ass and you want to claim it on your taxes. You need proof. And if that website goes away, good luck getting it. So please Get anything off FTX that you possibly can right now and into a wallet that you hold the keys for. Send it to your damn friend if you have to, and screenshot every last piece of value that you had on FTX the instant you have access to it.
I just want to say I'm everyone's friend. You can send me all the coins.
And if you capture all that data, hopefully you can spank their poopy butts.
Yeah,
Get your money back.
Okay, so is this a case for Coinbase? Coinbase does not allow a bunch of crap coins in. Are they held up stronger? Like they've already seen in their eyes a brokerage just blow up. So what's to stop them? Like what's encouraging them to just hey, let's round two this thing. Let's pick Robinhood. Let's pick Coinbase. Can't wait for that one to blow up next.
Well, and Robinhood actually had this experience, right? I mean, and not in a crypto sense, but with GameStop and AMC and some of the other ones that went crazy, a similar situation. It's just that Citadel is has much deeper pockets and was willing to actually play ball with them to keep them afloat.
Yeah,
exactly.
Whereas Binance and CZ was like, yeah, fuck that.
So
I'm not gonna throw shade at Coinbase, but I will say that some of their new token offerings are a little dubious, to say the least. I don't think they have a lot of credibility in terms of longevity and actual use case value as a blockchain. And so I would say if someone were to pin me to the wall and say, yes or no, Coinbase good or bad, orange man bad, I would say Coinbase, it's kind of moving in a direction of a bad actor, because there is monetary incentive for them to host these shit coins. And I don't know what the backdoor dealings look like, but I'll tell you, I wouldn't host easily 50% of the coins that they're hosting on Coinbase.
Thank you.
Well, let's say you have Bitcoin. You're only interested in buying Bitcoin. They got you pinned against the wall, or they're going to try this round two one more time because they just got destroyed in FTX. What app are they downloading next?
Well, you have your pick of the litter. You could always go to Kraken. You could always go to Binance US. You could always go to just actually improve somewhat. I believe Gemini has proof of funds. Someone might have to spot check me, those fact checkers on that. Actually, I think they do. I think I'm 99% sure that they do. So there are other exchanges out there. If you really just want to, and Tamp, you can speak more to this if you'd like. In my opinion, I would say go to any exchange, get yourself some Bitcoin, especially at these prices, if you're not dollar cost averaging, and then move that into a ledger or a Trezor. Move that into an offline wallet, something that you can control, something that you understand. Make sure that you back up your keys, right? And so this can happen to anything. It could happen to a Coinbase. It could truly happen to a Kraken. It could truly happen to a Binance US. It could happen to a Gemini. It could happen even to the local Bitcoin stuff. There's sites for that, right? Where you can get local Bitcoins for cash. So there's many ways to get in, but none of them are truly safe until you own and custody that asset yourself. And that is as long as we've been here in the market, I'm looking at all of you guys, right? You guys have how many times have you heard the phrase like own your Bitcoin, right? Not your keys, not your coins. Like Andreas Antonopoulos told us that back in his first book of Bitcoin.
It falls on deaf ears until people get a punch in the face, and then like, oh, this is serious. All of a sudden, I should be part of the Dirty Shovel gang. If you're part of our stream this morning, we were talking about operational security and how you're only actually as secure as your setup, right? So if you're hosting all of your currencies on a centralized exchange, it's in pure good faith. You're hoping that they will honor the agreements that they have with you, but you don't know that they will. And there's been examples in the past where they haven't. And even going back to the Great Depression, that's what banks did. People went to the banks and they asked to get their money out and they couldn't. And so people got trampled and some people died from the brawling. And like that kind of scenario can happen if you have a custodian of your funds. And so that's why Bitcoin solves a lot of these problems. It gives us this space where we can actually have a network that's decentralized. It's cryptographically secured. It takes a huge amount of electricity and money up front to even try to pwn the network. And even if you did try, you'd probably not be successful, and you'd probably end up wasting a ton of money, and it wouldn't be worth the money you would have gotten in the first place. And so it's important for everyone to make sure that right now, if you haven't done this already, you do get a hardware wallet. You do get a Ledger Nano or a Trezor. There's other free options too, like Exodus is a free software option that's pretty good. We're, as a team, also working on developing a piece of software to help solve a lot of these problems that when it is ready, we'll be talking about it and adding that to the options. But it's such a big deal that you actually have your private keys and no one else does, because at very least they have to come and fight you. They have to actually come into your house and find out that you have a lot of guns or a dirty shovel that they get little nickied and by their brother Cassius. So like that's the idea though. Like it's like, if you want my money, you're gonna literally have to come and fight me if you want this. Like that's the best security for your funds that you can probably have, because you're not trusting a third party to take care of it.
And now,
and for people that don't know what this is, so you're talking about whatever one you have. You even on Robinhood, you can do this. You can send crypto. Anything you can buy and send crypto onto it, right? You can't do it any other way, right? So you're talking about, so the Nano Ledger basically is a completely new wallet. What is the basic step 1, 2, 3? Because I'm willing to bet a lot of people, they followed the YouTuber, they got the link, they bought the coin, and they're just watching it. So this is, hopefully this hits home to them and they got to avoid, like I almost got FTX, but I chose Binance. But it's like, hey, how can I protect myself from this? What's the steps, the basics? Follow step 1, 2, 3. I download the app. I bought the coin. How do I take it off market?
This is what I did personally back in the day when I bought Bitcoin.
Yes.
I downloaded Exodus, and Brandon just brought it up. It's exodus.io, and it is what is called a warm wallet. You have cold wallets, warm wallets, and hot wallets. Exodus.io is a warm wallet, but it's free. And once I downloaded Exodus, I would buy Bitcoin at that point on a central exchange. It was Coinbase. And I would send, because it costs a lot of money to send Bitcoin from Coinbase to your Exodus wallet. Once I got in my bank, it was $500 worth of Bitcoin at the time. I would send it to Exodus. And I kept doing that and kept doing that. And once my Exodus wallet started to get big, in my particular circumstance, that was 5 figures. So I had $10,000 worth of Bitcoin. I started thinking to myself, okay, I need to take this serious, because if I lose $10,000, it's not going to be the end of my life, but I don't want to lose that. I don't have that just to lose and piss off. So then I looked at getting a cold wallet, which is a Ledger or a Trezor. I went with a Ledger. The reason I say wait for a second on that is because they're relatively expensive compared to free. You're going to pay $100 plus for any one of these cold wallets. So once I was ready to spend money on a cold wallet, I bought the Ledger, and then I transferred my money from Exodus to Ledger, where it still sits to this day, my Bitcoin. That is what I personally did.
So the Ledger itself, when you buy that little USB thing comes in the mail, are you creating a new wallet? Is that your new wallet?
Yes,
because then you're just going to send to it like just a normal transaction. You're going to just send my Bitcoin to that wallet.
Right. You're going to connect your Ledger to an app, a native app called Ledger Live. And Ledger Live is just a software. It is a wallet in and of itself. And the Ledger that you get, the actual device, is just a 2-factor authentication device. That's all it is. It says either, yes, allow this thing that my computer software is telling me to do with my Bitcoin, or no, reject this thing that my computer software is telling me to do with this Bitcoin. That's all the actual thumb drive looking thing device does. It's it. 2-factor authentication. So when you open Ledger Live, it's a wallet. It's also a software that allows you to download certain supported coins to the Ledger itself. So you have more than just Bitcoin that you can store on a cold wallet. I picked Bitcoin. So here's my Ledger. I'm in Ledger Live. I want Bitcoin. Boom. It gives you an address right there. There's your Ledger. It gives you an address. I went to Exodus, said, hey, I'm going to withdraw. I want to withdraw this Bitcoin. At that point, it was about $10,000 worth of Bitcoin. I'm going to withdraw the money, the Bitcoin, from Exodus into my Ledger cold wallet. Sent it. Here comes Ledger. Hey, are you sure you want to do this transaction? Yes, I am. Boom. And now that money's on my Ledger, and it's there and just still sitting there to this day. And you can do that with a multitude of coins that are supported, but that's the biggest difference.
Yeah. Jaime, I yield to you, dear friend.
No, because I was going to shift. If you do not have Ledger and you're panicking, there's another alternative that is not as good, but it's safe enough. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say that the architectural way this looks is you have an account that has encryption. It's a 12 seed word encryption that you can get into your account. Ledger does this, Exodus does this, MetaMask does this, but MetaMask has some other questions on it. And the idea is that inside of this account, it can store, small amounts of data, just strings that are functionally your private keys and public keys, right? And so if you were to lose, for example, your Ledger, like your actual USB stick, well, that doesn't matter because you need a PIN code to even get into it. And all you'd have to do is go and buy a new one. And as long as you had your seed words stored, you'd be able to enter all those accounts that you have. Like, Tamp was saying, it functions as sort of like a what you know and what you have kind of thing. So the idea, though, is that you provision new wallets. You create new cryptocurrency wallets inside of your profile and your account on like a Ledger or on Exodus or on MetaMask, for example, because people are familiar with it. And so the idea here is that you then have your own wallet that people can send money to, and you can send money to from the exchange wallet. And so once you've sent it from like Binance, for example, to your Ledger Bitcoin wallet, at that point, no one else has the private keys to your Bitcoin. You have the private keys to your Bitcoin. And only people you give those private keys to even could authenticate as your identity and send money to and from. So obviously that's the best way to handle it. And you can make as many wallets as you want on that Ledger account, right? So you could have one Bitcoin wallet for every single transaction you have. That way there's not a rolling history on a wallet. You have, one interaction per wallet. And a lot of people recommend you do that. That way the pseudo-anonymity, not anonymity, but pseudo-anonymity of Bitcoin is preserved, right?
Absolutely. So now, go ahead.
Okay,
Don.
just to bring it full circle, you buy it, send it to it. Now, if that one crashes and burns behind you, when you need to take that off, when you want to use that Bitcoin, you can create so if FTX crashes, I would just send it to my Coinbase account if I ever needed to use it again. So you could just pull it back off.
Correct.
So,
or yes. And let's say this unit that I bought failed and it won't function anymore. As long as you have those seed phrases, it will restore. So it literally creates a hash, which is the key to access your store of value in the blockchain. So it does. And to answer Eunice's question and ETH support, yeah, it's in there.
She was. I know what Eunice was asking. She's asking about
trading.
Yeah, Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Okay.
Yeah, where do we think Ethereum support is as it
Don
reacts to Bitcoin's pricing? Yeah,
which I think is probably a good segue. So
wait, before we segue, by the way, guys, if you do not have this and you're trying to get it off an exchange, download a wallet like Trust Wallet. Download
Exodus.
Exodus.io.
Yes. So there are options, guys. So although we're going with the Ledger or the Trezor, there are wallets you can download onto your phone or device that you want, or even a website, and create a wallet and then transfer it in there. Why? Because it's in your possession at that point, not in an exchange. So I just want to share that.
Quick disclaimer on that too. Do not cheap out when it comes to these software devices and these cold wallets. Only buy them from verified, authenticated retailers. Do not get them off of eBay. Do not get them on sale. Do not get them from your friend who knows a guy. Do not do that. Put the money out, buy the originals, because otherwise they could have been tampered with and you will lose your money that way too. This is not the time to go cheap. But if you are scrambling right now, download Exodus right now. It's free. You download it. It's there. You move your Bitcoin and you make your next move once things settle down a little bit.
Absolutely.
It's like going cheap on like a TV wall mount. Like a $10,000 TV, and you're like, here's like a $50 option. Like,
right.
Yeah, that's what I want crashing down.
Do not use a $20 coupon. Do not.
It's a plastic aluminum carbide. You're like, that's not good.
Yeah, I would buy it just direct. I heard someone even they were selling them on Amazon for a bit. I think Amazon might have even quit, but they were selling the ledgers on Amazon, third party. Like that. But when I heard that, like just from then on, I would only go to the website.
Yes.
Like,
You should go directly to the company, ideally, because that's the most sure way to make sure it's the right system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feel
Like
free to use a referral link. Referral links are okay. Just make sure it links you to the official site.
Yeah, because keep in mind this idea: the real company, Ledger, owns their domain site, and so anything on their website is more likely probably actually the real people, and so you should just go directly to the source. Cut out the middleman is sort of a design principle inside of the crypto space. If you can cut out the middleman and just have the bare essential elements, that's the best way to do it.
Absolutely. Sorry, I didn't mean to say. I just wanted to provide options for.
Oh no, you're good.
Good.
You're
But
you're
what
good.
now? Like that's
So
what
it's,
everybody wants.
before we do that, I just want to update everybody on price action here, because we are seeing the lows of the session. So FTX, or FTT, I should say, the token for FTX, is now down 62% and about 96% from its highs. We saw the recent high here around. Not highs, I should say, but just days ago was sitting at $26.45. It's now trading at $2.08. Looking back at Bitcoin, it is now also near its lows of the day, and that's down 15.5%. That's on top of what we saw from yesterday, which is a mind-blowing number. So it's down around 2,800 points. And looking at a couple other ones, Solana has been obviously in the headlines as well, as this is all related. So that's down another 40% too. So just some really steep, but that's actually that's off its lows of $11 and now sitting up at a $14.18.
So guys, one thing about Solana, and you'll see it on Twitter happening, it's going to happen in 24 hours. A lot of people staked it, meaning they cannot sell it. Well, there's a huge ass. I can't remember what the number is. I'll look it up. But there's
20,000.
Like a shit ton of Solana about to be unstaked by tomorrow.
Let me look up what that is.
Yes.
The dam's gonna rupture. Floodgates are gonna open.
Yes. Keep that. Yes. Stay aware. If you're trying to catch this knife, let the dam rupture first before you start catching it.
Yeah, absolutely. So just the reason I brought this all up, and as we're getting into it and getting to Eunice's, which by the way, Eunice, shout out. Thanks for coming in and watching today. We certainly appreciate your support too. She is a new friend of ours, and she's now watching, so we really appreciate that. But she has two questions. Where's the next Bitcoin support? 14,000, maybe 12,000, and then also with Ethereum as well. Where do we potentially see these landing? And Don, I wanted to kind of see if you wouldn't mind bringing up some of your zones and kind of giving your thoughts on where you could potentially see both of these actually ending up or bottoming out as we continue to see this sell-off.
Yeah, that just FYI, it's just under 51 million Solana that are scheduled to unlock in approximately 10 hours.
Do you understand, guy?
So it's 50,794,692 Solana.
God, keep that in mind, guys.
So my God, it's about to get real diluted.
Yes.
That's got a lot.
So they can't sell, Don, until it
they
unstakes.
can't. They're trying to unlock it right now, and we'll go more into staking when I talk about what I would do if I was in a bad place right now, and Don will talk to the trader that might be listening. But my if you're not a trader, I'll give my thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, I
and
guess
by the way, for the viewers,
what happens? More buyers it goes up, more sellers it goes down. So we're just talking about more sellers right now. So that's all these zones are. It's talking about where the previous buyer orders were, and like people like to remember those levels. And is there any still left over there? Largely, I do this way more in the stock world, but that's institutions that are buying, and then they use algos to get in and out, which I think Bitcoin is just now dabbling in. With institutions, they're just seeing that price action at least. But I was actually this got brought up this morning, so I was looking for it, and so I'm not buying at this zone. But if I was going to see any turbulence, I'd say right here at these. So we'll say 14.5 to 15.5. What was her options?
She was asking about 14 or 12.
Yeah. Within what range? So I think Eunice would rather see what you're looking at, for her response or her answer.
Because we were talking about, we've been talking about 13.8 Verti TV. So 13.8 is a spot that, and since we,
And I can show it.
yeah. So and
Yeah,
feel free,
that's right
feel
here.
free, feel free to
That's
show
his
it.
blue line.
Yes.
Old
and-
resistance, new support. People have to say that.
Correct. And if before you go into the details, Don, I just want to show it for Eunice's visualization. The reason why we say 13,888 zone is because that's where the bodies of the candles open and close in the last bull run. Then you also saw a push. So here's where it closed. Oh shit, it's not showing the mouse on the.
Oh, it doesn't matter. It's
okay, so shit, I can't even show it. Okay, so Eunice, on the all the viewers, if you're looking at the chart itself, on the far left-hand side, you can see the green line that goes across the entire screen. That line is where the open and close of the bodies of the candles. That's really where the biggest volume of the trade occurred within that time frame, that month. So that, and there's a moving average moving up to that same level on the right-hand side where the red candle you're seeing coming down. So 13.8 is a plausible location where we could bottom. Of course, it's a falling knife. We don't know how long a wick could go past this and then close at the monthly level. That's it. So I just want to give that piece. The floor is yours, Don. Sorry about that.
All right, you're good. What was the question again? Just where do I think the
What do you do?
Bitcoin? You're talking about just the bottom in general, or just what kind of support you're talking about? A quick little bounce and a scalp it, get in that turbulence, or are we talking like the bottom?
Where could the bottom actually end up being? I mean, and obviously we know that there's always extreme situations, but the highest probability where the bottom could end up being. And to me, I'm with Jaime, and Jaime, you and I have talked off camera about this a lot, that 13,008 seems to be the most likely scenario for a bottom. But I was curious to see if your charts, if your zones kind of matched up with that, Don.
13.8, that's a support.
Yeah.
I mean, like, so I'm going to call it that. I see what you guys are seeing. I don't think so.
Right. I believe a wick. I have buys all the way down to 9,800 in full transparency. Like, I can see this bitch going all the way down and just rolling. And Peter, thank you for the reminder. This is not financial advice. Just because I can flip a knife and cut myself doesn't mean you should do the same. So for the love of God, do your own research.
If Bitcoin bounces at that.
Well, hell yeah. Yeah, okay. Absolutely.
No, I mean, like a wick, an order still has to take, a transaction has to take place for that wick to happen. All this is a CVS receipt of transactions that just took place. Because when you buy or sell, it shows up on here. And that's all these candles are. So like the open, like the time, this is a daily. So like at the beginning of the day, it started there. And at the end of the day, that's the candle body. The wick is just what happened inside that day. Still transactions being placed. So like maybe your monthly ends up holding at that 13.8, but then it drops all the way down to here. Then I would still say that was still the bottom.
Yes.
Like the bottom will be where that wick touches. That's going to be the final order.
Correct. Which is very difficult to predict. Like that's impossible, but you can see the zone where it's likely to settle at as a milestone or a stepping stone or a slipstone, right. And then you have to watch price action to see, shit, is it really the bottom or is there more downside? And that's where you watch price action.
The bottom is when the switch gets flipped. More buyers than sellers. It's because right now there's more sellers than buyers. That's why there's a red candle, right? Whether it doesn't matter why. It never will. You'll never actually know the reason why. You can talk about it all day long. We can make thumbnails, YouTube videos all day long. But the only thing we do know is right now there's more sellers than buyers. So the bottom will be when that switch happens, when there's more buyers than sellers. And I forgot where I was going. I thought we were
no, that's a fact though.
That's a fact. It's good though, because it goes right into why I'm doing nothing right now. It's a perfect lead up to why I'm doing absolutely nothing. Because like Don said, eventually the switch will flip from sell to buy. But until then, he's going to sit and wait. So that's what the traders are doing, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm not a trader,
Yeah.
what do I do? And the simple answer is this. We talked about it already. If you have exposure to FTX, what you do right now is you get your coins off the exchange, if able, and you screenshot your transactions so that you have that ammo if and when IRS or any sort of litigation comes your way. That is what you do if you are exposed to FTX. If you are not exposed to FTX, you're in the game though, and you're wondering, what can I make of this? I still maintain you do nothing right now. I do not think right now is the time to establish a new position if you're not already in one on a chart. I think that you can look at volume and accumulation zones, scale in below anticipated wicks. I think you can do that. But I think that if you have dry powder, this is not going to be a 3-day affair. I do not think that at all. I think you leave staked positions alone because they are doing exactly what they are intended to do right now, which is basically just steadily accumulate more tokens and lower your dollar cost average. So right now, if you are staked in anything, it doesn't have to be FTX. It could be, I have staked Atom. That has nothing to do with FTX whatsoever. But what is happening now is as the price of alts drop across the board because of what is happening with FTX, now I gather my staked rewards, I push them right back into themselves, thus lowering my DCA cost over time. That is why I say hold the course, stay steady, and do nothing, because we have no idea how this is going to truly shake out, and it's not going to prove itself in the next 24 hours.
Yeah, which is why
I
actually brought up a poll in our YouTube chat. So far we got about 44 votes. Feel free to jump in on this, guys. But it seems as if the majority does agree with you. But we do have a large percentage of people, the overwhelming majority actually, that are looking to buy Bitcoin today and tomorrow. But many of our viewers so far are waiting to the next support. So
yes.
So we just got done hearing from Don and the potential trading opportunities, but I'm glad that you're starting to talk about this a little bit, Tam, because I think that there isn't necessarily, at least in my opinion, if you're not just trying to trade this, in my opinion, none of these are actually wrong except for the never person. But today, tomorrow, at next support, I think all of those are the right answer. If you're looking to just build a position or accumulate Bitcoin, I don't think it necessarily matters when you buy. You buy on a day that it's down 15% and you're expecting it to be above $15,758 per Bitcoin, which is where it's at right now. 5 years from now, you're going to make money no matter what.
Long term, guys.
Yeah.
So let me add to that just real quick, because this is the one person that fails. Like, have a plan. Or plan to fail. And that will literally apply in every aspect. Because if you're going to buy and hold, like, you have to understand you have to have realistic expectations. What if it does drop to 7,000? Answer all the what if questions before you ever click the buy button. So when that does happen, you don't have crippling anxiety. You didn't buy here thinking this was the bottom with no possible thought of it breaking below. And now you're about to sell at what could be a bottom. You're going to take in a loss because you just emotionally just distraught, not thinking straight. Like, so plan all of it in. Traders, they just do that on a smaller time. We're going to plan in. If it breaks, you hop out. But if you have that plan going in, no matter what, you're going to buy and hold dollar cost average. You're just going to try to buy the bottom. You got a weighted dollar cost average, whatever it is. Have that plan all the what ifs before you ever click the buy button, and you'll have a smooth transaction every time. You will not be surprised. You're going to be surprised if you didn't do any work before the buy button. Like, that's the most important part. Just figure it out and then click the buy button. Don't figure it out as you go, because then you're setting yourself up for trouble.
Yeah.
And
go ahead, Jaime. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna mention that Don Frun has a training. He can actually teach you this. If you're interested in learning, please look him up, Don Frun Show, and get engaged. Like, if this is something you want to do, learn it with someone who does it for a living, so it all the way. Hey, go ahead, Tim. Sorry.
Yeah. And I mean, well, it segues perfectly into what we're saying. Like, could you see lower prices? Yes, likely we will. I mean, will we see lower prices? Yeah, that's very likely. Will you be able to time the bottom?
No.
Very highly unlikely.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard a lot of people say, don't be a dick for a tick. Any purchase below your value price is a winning trade on entry. So what does that mean? It just means that once you decide to get into cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, you have got to not only have the conviction to do it, but also the time frame projection to stay steady on that purchase. Why am I saying that? Because Bitcoin runs in cycles, right? And if you think you can just dip in and out of this crypto space, you're going to get destroyed. I will tell you that right now.
Right.
So if and when you decide to get in, and we're in a bear market that's likely going lower right now, so maybe this is the time where you're looking to get in. You have got to have at least a 4-year projection to hold your assets that you have conviction on. And right now, if you're looking to sell and run, you need to double check why you got into certain assets in the first place. Has your conviction changed? Has the team changed? Has the utility of the token you're in changed? Has the security changed? If the answer to that is no, then you're fine. Sit back and do nothing, wait it out. If you're freaking out, then it's not because of the market. It's because you picked the wrong damn coin and you're starting to freak out because of that, right? So if you get in, anything long-term will be a solid value. There were a lot of people who got into Bitcoin around $5,000 and it tanked, quote unquote, to $3,000. Well, those people are looking really, really good right now.
Right.
Why? Because they had conviction to stay in the market. So it doesn't matter if you get into Bitcoin right now or at the very bottom of this cycle. If you have the conviction to stay in this thing long-term, you're going to look like a genius. But if you dip in and out thinking that you're going to be smarter than the market, you will get destroyed every time.
You will. I've done it.
And we've all done it.
Yes.
Mhm.
So yeah, agreed, Tam.
Except me, I've never locked in a loss on Bitcoin. As a trader, I don't really trade Bitcoin though. So like, full disclaimer, like, yeah, my main income's trading like all day. My account is full of people's accounts that have no idea what they're doing. That's how I make money. Like I need them to continue doing stupid stuff. But like I don't trade Bitcoin. Like I just buy and hold. And that's my plan is to buy and hold. So the more it comes down, sweet. The only thing I'm doing is more of a weighted dollar cost average. So like when it gets this level, I'm just going to buy more. There's zero panic, but it's all into the original plan to begin with. I'm actually just excited this happens. That's why I don't care about this, because this was just droning on forever. Like I'm just send it, get this thing over with.
It's a good point. But I laugh all the time when people are like, I'm too late to get into Bitcoin. It's too late. No, you're not too late. You're not patient enough. You just have to get in and wait. And then you will look like a genius. But a lot of people can't do that. And the same thing in the crypto world. So in the altcoin world, if you are freaking out and selling right now, then your conviction was wrong the whole time on why you held those alts. You're getting exposed right now. But if you got into the alts for all the right reasons and nothing has changed, the team hasn't changed, the development hasn't changed, the shipper output hasn't changed, then chill out. Go ahead and continue to DCA into that coin and lower your entry level cost. That's exactly what these markets are for. This is why Don said millionaires are made in these markets. Because if you got into the right coins and nothing's changed but the price, then you're still right. This is an opportunity for you if absolutely nothing has changed but price. Go ahead and scoop it up, buy it up. And then when the market inevitably turns and you are in the right coins for the right reasons, you will reap the rewards of that.
Been going up.
Man, I hope everyone heard a lot of that. Right coins for the right reasons. Like there's a reason why I don't trade this. This is a little bit harder than a stock. Stock's 5 seconds to figure that stock out.
It's the .com period, by the way.
Done. With over 40,000 coins, there's a lot you can just mess up. And if you want a stock example, look at Peloton. There's things that just won't come back, and cryptocurrencies are going to be that way. But the one piece I will add to this, there's a reason why it's Bitcoin and altcoins. There's all the other ones. So like just keep that in mind. Like we don't know which ones are going to be here. So after, which we're assuming, well, at least that's a firm belief for most of us, is regulations coming. This will be a different. Right now, it's the Wild West. It's a brand new asset class. The pieces are just now being put on the board before you can even play the game. A lot of these won't make it to the other end.
Yeah.
And that's just
Right.
the fact. So take that
Absolutely.
into your plan of, I'm going to buy this coin. It's got a cool name, which we'll talk about later. Whatever your reason is, figure it out. But just know, like, when you're talking about risk, like, okay, the reason I bring this up is because everybody, I hear so much that Bitcoin's too expensive, right? So instead of buying $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, they buy $1,000 worth of Doge. Like, and Doge is the only example because someone like Elon got behind it to actually make it go up in the first place.
Right.
Well, it had gone up before Elon touched it, but that's for different reasons we've talked about on stream.
Don't get
But it
technical on
mooned.
that, Brandon. He's
So-
made a damn
Yeah.
good point for the noob.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
me get started.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
get me
So-
started.
So I just want to recap a little bit because since we have been live for a while and we do have a lot of people that are watching here relative to our normal stream. So I just want to welcome you guys to the stream. If you guys if you're visiting for the first time, first of all, hopefully you guys subscribe. Right now you're watching the 1 minute chart on Bitcoin as we're just kind of watching it live, seeing the reactions here. We just saw a bottom on this one, damn near $15,000 per Bitcoin. It is starting to move up slightly right now. Obviously, we're not in the business of watching every tick, but it just for entertainment purposes, I feel like it's just fun to just watch this thing move. So just to kind of recap a little bit, what has happened to bring on these series of events? FTX is in a world of hurt right now because of Binance pulling out their $2 billion investment into FTT. And so this has kind of created a ripple effect. And them pulling out that $2 billion out of FTX has created liquidity issues because everybody else followed suit. And by everybody else, I'm generalizing, of course, but the large majority of people were trying to pull all their money out of FTX, and FTX just didn't have the funds to be able to support that. And so now we are starting to see this kind of panic mode in the crypto space, and it's actually rippled into traditional finance as well. We saw the indexes really take a hit today too. Obviously, there's other catalysts as well. Tomorrow we have CPI and what have you. So we've seen some huge fallouts. Solana's down a shit ton. FTT's down 95%. And so we're just seeing, like I said, a ripple effect here. So if you're just tuning in, this is kind of what we're covering. And really, as the title says, here's what's next for us. In particular, it is more of the same. We're trying to encourage you guys, and obviously this isn't financial advice, but at least encourage you not to panic about any of this. And it is more so, if you believed in Bitcoin before yesterday, then those shouldn't change. Those beliefs shouldn't change. If you had a plan before yesterday, if you had a plan before this weekend happened, then that plan shouldn't really change all that much. This is just people with a lot of money that are fucking around with each other. And as long as you have your Bitcoin or your on a wallet and that isn't on an exchange, you should be just fine. And one of the big reasons that we brought this live stream to light in the first place was because if you didn't, then this could be a tough lesson for you, but a lesson nevertheless, so that the next time this happens, which is probably going to be likely, you will be prepared for it.
Absolutely. And we've all made these mistakes. So if those of you just joined, just rewind. We've covered what to do if you can't get a Ledger or a Trezor or any cold wallet. You can immediately download a warmer wallet or a wallet that can go onto your phone, like Exodus and Trust Wallet or any other. So there are alternatives for you to secure your tokens or Bitcoin itself. So do take action. Do not panic. We've been speaking of this possibility for months now.
Yeah.
So it is
Yawn
not a
fest.
surprise.
Let me handle this next call to action. Not that it's a plan,
Yes.
but I do want to say, as people are getting their information, I would caution who you're getting your information from, because even on this stream, you've heard a few different opinions. You've heard mine as a trader, which is my main income. You've heard the other guy here, Peter. He said that you're reading into the tea leaves. You've got his opinion. We've got crypto nerds here. But then if you go out, because I know a lot of people will follow, there's a lot of channels of just one person and it's one opinion, and they just put all their eggs in that basket. And there is just so many unknowns. Like even in the comments, we think there's a comment right now. I think it's going to go to 44K, then back down to 19, then a bull run. And just caution who you're actually following, who you're getting your information from. I know that's why I was just going to encourage everybody to actually click the subscribe button, because you got a group of opinions, because there's there's a few ways to skin this cat. There's a million ways to do it wrong.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well said.
Do
And
your own
You
research.
know, I've had this conversation with Don off topic or off camera as well. And one of the things that I remember looking for when I first started getting into crypto is how do I navigate this space? And it wasn't near as polluted as it is now with YouTube and TikTok and all this easy money stuff. Is if somebody is touting, especially an altcoin, and all they are talking about is price, and it only has to do with price. And I think this coin can go 10x or 50x or 100x. And that's the only thing that you see about said coin. That should be a red flag.
Absolutely.
Why? Brandon touched on this earlier today during our regularly scheduled live stream. Price alone does not dictate what might be happening behind the scenes, what might be developing in bear markets in terms of continuation of build and adding to a stronger team and actually shipping a product for normal people and everyday people to use and advancing the space in whole. Price action is not going to show that. So the first red flag I would look for is if you're trying to figure this out, is the only thing I heard about whatever coin, price alone, stop right there and move on. And the way that you move on is that you try to first not look for a coin, look for an ecosystem, right? One of the biggest altcoin ecosystems, the biggest one is ETH, right? So it's an easy one to look at first, but I would actually look outside of that for a number of reasons. But fall in love with an ecosystem first, have reasons why you like that ecosystem, and then deep dive into particular coins on that ecosystem. So that's a good place to start. That should take you damn well more than a month to figure out. If you think you've got this figured out in a day or 3, you're already wrong.
Yeah, and something that important to note too, our community here with DCTV, like Don was saying earlier, we all have different backgrounds and disciplines. We all have been in the space for quite a while, and there's a lot of things that will just show up that have already happened before, but it shows up with a different skin on it, right? Like the majority of NFT projects, Zing. No, but like you really will see this where, like, for example, Bitcoin popped up out of nowhere, right? During the whole 2008 financial crisis. That financial crisis was never solved. It was kicked down the road, and we're starting to kind of see it pop up again with, being in a economic recession and what have you in the States, right? So Bitcoin popped up in order to cut middlemen out of the picture and give people the ability to just say, hey, I want to do business with this person. They're going to give me something. I'm going to give them this money. And it was as though you had done it in cash, but you don't have to physically have it on your person, right? And so that was a unique thing that we had never seen before, where you could actually hold value on your person, but it's not heavy like gold bricks would be, right? It's really hard to mug somebody who has, Bitcoin. And so that was the first use case, but a lot of other people started saying, hey, look, check this out. This is a cool way to store data in a secure way. Let's start experimenting and find some other ways to move it around. So Litecoin popped up. It was a fork off of Bitcoin. People were like, hey, we can change the token economics of this to make it more like cash and less of a store value. It can be something that's faster than Bitcoin. It can be cheaper transactions, what have you, and it serves a different use case. Well, then we see some other things pop up like Ethereum, where it added a new layer. It added this ability to do smart contracts. So now inside of that coin, it wasn't just money. It also had the ability for you to say, you know what, let's build a business contract. I can shake hands and you can shake hands, and then we don't have to trust each other anymore. It's just going to do what the code says. And so we've seen a lot of experiments pop up playing with that idea of, okay, how can we use this idea Bitcoin brought up and showed us a true use case for, and how can we find other ways to implement that technology? So when you're investing into altcoins, keep that in mind. This is people experimenting with new technology, people experimenting with new use cases, and sometimes it works and the valuation of the coin goes up because people go, hey, I see the use case here. I see that we actually could integrate this into our payment system so we don't have to manually pay people. When certain things happen, they'll automatically be paid for their work. And so, ETH has kind of been a development pool, an experiment, right? Where new things are tried, and they have a lot of backing from companies like Microsoft, right? Where there's big tech money in Ethereum to prove out these experiments. But don't be deceived. Ethereum is not a perfectly decentralized coin. It has a lot of history of some things happening that weren't perfectly by the code. Code is law. And that was a Bitcoin principle. So keep that in mind, that that doesn't mean ETH is devoid of any value. It does mean that ETH may not be a place that you want to invest your money per se, but you are investing in experiments and technologies like NFTs we now have, right?
Yeah. So that was actually very well said.
It's a deposition.
Yeah. So I wanted to actually kind of not switch gears, but just I just came across this tweet. As you were speaking, and I was not paying attention. I was paying attention to other things that I could bring to the conversation. But looking at this, that was a joke. I was paying attention.
I love you. It's okay.
But Dave Portnoy. Do we know anybody who knows Dave Portnoy? Can we please help a brother out? Because he says,
Yeah.
I have a dumb question. If I bought Bitcoins through FTX and FTX goes belly up, where do they go? Apparently,
you're
Dave
fucked.
Was it even
This-
Bitcoin to begin
yes.
with, or was it just magical numbers on
Exactly.
on a balance sheet?
This is the reason why we say not your keys, not your
Yes.
cheese.
Somebody didn't tell Dave.
I
Right.
know.
And this is the problem,
that
guys.
happened a lot.
And we're gonna continue to talk on this channel about native assets and why they are so important. And it's
Mhm.
because the problem with centralized exchanges is, like Brandon said, if you have a bad actor or something bad happens outside of your control and that centralized exchange goes belly up, so do you, quote unquote, your coins, because they were never yours in the first place. They were IOUs. It's like on Dumb and
Yep.
Dumber when freaking Jim Carrey's like, there you go, IOU. Ooh, 50,000. That's a keeper.
We got to meme that.
This
Yeah.
shit
Good.
is not yours. That's the problem with centralized exchanges. So when people are like, who cares? Who cares about Coinbase? Who cares about FTX? Why are they a problem? This reason, because it's not yours. It's an image. It's a synthetic. It's a replica. It is not yours to have to do what you want with. It is an
Yes.
IOU at best. So Dave, I'm sorry. Lord knows I love you. One bite. Everybody knows the rules. But bitch, you lost on this one.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope they all get made whole, but we have no guarantee of that.
Absolutely not.
And by the way, the second portion of where it says, does anybody have access to them, or have they just lost into the ether or something forever? And no, they're not lost. Usually in an exchange, there is cold storage where
It just
they
ain't
will.
yours.
Correct. They're the ones that have the keys, not you. So when this goes into receivership, like Mt. Gox did, which is one of those 2015, way back in the day meltdowns, they're still in a wallet that will be released as the court allows it to be released, a bankruptcy court, whatever court is involved at the time. So they are not lost into ether. Now, here's the kick in the nuts, though. When you're involved in futures, then there's more Bitcoin. It's literally you're trading pink slips.
Yep.
You're not really trading spot true Bitcoin. The exchange has to retain as much liquidity, as much Bitcoin to pay out their bettors, their gamblers in there, or people who know what they're doing. Don, I'm
Go
referring
settle
to
for
you.
cash.
Yeah, right. But they are really the futures aspect of it is pink slips, just like futures is in the real world, in the traditional markets. They are not the asset itself. They're representations or pink slips of it. But if someone, just like it happened in any bank run, everybody tries to go collect on those pink slips, there are not enough pink slips. And thus the importance of you, when you buy, move it to your wallet, because now you have the actual asset. You do not have a pink slip as you would in an exchange. So that's the
I
lesson.
have a
learned.
pink slip for a Ferrari. Where is it? But I have my slip. Where's your Ferrari?
Yeah.
Bitch, I don't know. It ain't here though, but I have a slip. That's all you're going to get.
Yes.
That's the best you're going to get. So frame that and tell everybody you have a Ferrari, because that's as close as it's going to be.
So Dave Portnoy,
I'm sorry,
you have
bro.
a pink slip. You don't.
I mean, you can
Sorry,
just
bro.
print a degree, and it's as good as having the actual education, right?
Hey, Why not?
I got my diploma.
So before I get into some other breaking news about FTX, because this is also a big deal, and we haven't
What
touched
happened
on
now?
we haven't touched on this at all.
It just came out.
It did not. We just didn't catch it, but I still want to talk about it. So real quick, guys, this is an unscheduled live stream, and we are pulling overtime right now and going on an absolute marathon where we've been live for 90 minutes, and we're still going strong. By the way, Brandon, Tamp, Jaime, and Don, I appreciate all of you because I'm the one.
Marathon.
Well, not yet, but I think we're gonna get there. But it's a marathon by our standards. I just want to say thanks because I was like, let's fucking go live because like things are happening by the minute. So for those reasons, guys, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. Make sure you go check us out at Discord as well. It's absolutely free. We got a pretty great community in there. If you want to continue the conversation in our Discord, link is in the description. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like. We will be live again after the stream, unless something else crazy happens. At 9 a.m. Eastern on Friday, we'll be having special guests, and we're going to continue to grow this channel. So if you want to continue to show us support, we would love it if you just did those things for us. It costs you literally nothing. There's no risk to you. Unlike your investment in FTX. So moving on, I want to. So there is some news. Unusual Whales. This is a great account to get some news from. Go follow them if you haven't done so already. But FTX is seeking emergency funding to withdraw requests, saying it has a shortfall of $8 billion.
$8 billion. Pink slips, guys. Pink slips.
This is exactly what we're talking about. To follow this up, after Binance walked away from the FTX deal. So this has all happened within a span of about 8 hours. The leaked messages to the Wall Street Journal shows that Sam Bankman-Fried asked for up to $8 billion from investments, given an inability to fund withdrawals. I think this is the fastest filing for bankruptcy ever.
Yeah.
This is exactly what's happening.
Wow.
What do you think that he can find the money?
And
if so,
where's he
who?
$8 billion? Where's he finding that from?
Listen, Elon Musk bought Twitter for $44 billion. Don't tell me it can't be done.
No, because he's Elon fucking Musk.
Yeah.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. So what if they went to Elon? What if Kanye's like, fuck it, I lost everybody else. I'll bail you out.
He doesn't have $8 billion.
He's got a big chunk of it.
No, Nancy Pelosi, she might have it.
Yeah, call Pelosi.
Yeah, no. But here's the kicker, though, Tam. Here's the huge difference. Elon was buying an asset that has value. This dude has pink slips. Who the fuck is going to give him money to pay out and drain?
True. But check this out. But just hear me out. True. Yeah. You're right. It looks really bad on the surface. Mm-hmm. But here's what you have that can make you bounce. And just hear me out on this and think on it. Huge names. And I'm not just talking institutions that nobody gives a shit about. I'm talking Tom Brady. I got my own fucking name on my football stadium. I got everybody who knows who I am. If I want, maybe, just maybe, I can link into the NFL and have every athlete screaming, don't worry about all that other stuff. FTX is where the ballers are. Right? Like, just think about it. I'm not saying it's going to happen.
But that's not $8 billion. That's not $8 billion worth.
I'd buy it for $500 million.
If they scrounge it up, right? You got LeBron and Tom and Ronaldo or whoever else buying pickleball teams. Why can they not buy FTX?
The problem is all the pink slips attached to it.
Right.
It's
no, I hear you. And I hear you. I'm just saying, what if? Right? What if? What if they found the $8 billion and flipped it and kept the name on the stadium and kept the huge athlete endorsements and actually made it something that is, who knows, attached to FanDuel, attached to anything that has to do with sports, made FTX the sports crypto of the world? I don't know. Why not? I'm just saying, don't count out certain guys that are really, really good at what they do. Can SBF flip it? I don't know. But what if?
The last time I found $8 billion, though, I didn't buy a bankrupt company.
If I'm an investor, by the way, Tam, I would wait for receivership.
Yeah, I would wait for them to go belly up
out of bankruptcy.
Fair, and that's fair. Strategy is strategy, but I'm just saying $8 billion to the sports world is nothing. Who gives a shit? $8 billion is a drop in the hat. Texas A&M is about to spend $100 million to get a new coach. Who gives a shit, right? Like $8 billion is nothing in the grand scheme of things. And I'm just saying, if with the names already attached, if Tom Brady goes out and says, look, I know a lot of people, I can get you your 8. What do we do with it?
I just have to wholeheartedly disagree. I just don't know how they come up with $8 billion. And like $100 million is a lot of money. Okay. $8 billion is 8,000 times that. Like
that's what I'm saying, though. I'm saying one particular college is going to shit it out for a new coach. That's all I'm saying. So if 100 million ain't shit, 8 billion is not that far of a stretch. We're talking about the totality.
Yeah, but when you're adding
athletics,
listen, when you add 3 extra zeros, it's a fuck ton.
Right, but FTX is on a football stadium, and you can't build a stadium under $1 billion.
On a stadium?
Not liquid. Like
I hear you.
They need the $8 billion today, not 6 months from now.
And that's fair. And that's fair. I'm not saying that it's practical. I'm just saying think about it. Yeah. I'm just
once
saying,
again, I'm asking for your financial support.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just saying the fucking phones and be like,
you know what this
I'm just saying, if you get enough people together, 8 billion is not a big deal when you're talking about a playground of millionaires. Athletics is a playground of millionaires for the players. It's a playground of billionaires for the owners that already know it. Their name's already on it. I'm just saying, if you're in 2 playgrounds, a billionaire owner playground and a millionaire athlete playground, 8 billion ain't shit. That's all I'm saying. So just think about it.
She's not wrong.
Okay, I'm thinking about it for 1 second. And you're still wrong.
One Doge trade, you'd have.
I don't
listen.
Pile in
Sam Bankman-Fried right now is Bernie Madoff.
Yeah.
Of today.
Okay, so kick him out and put somebody in the seat that's not.
Again, that's not happening today. And so like this is going to go belly up very fast.
You just said it was the fastest bankrupt in the history of bankruptcy filings. Why can it not be the fastest recovery in the history of recoveries?
Why not start clean?
Why would you want to? Where's the incentive? Why would
Thank you. Yes,
if you're inheriting all the lawsuits, you're buying everything that's dirty about it.
Correct.
I like to buy companies.
Right.
Jaime, now that inheriting the lawsuits is by far the best argument for me, because otherwise you're just inheriting an opportunity to not let things that are already in place completely shit. The lawsuits are a problem. I get it. I hear you. Everything else to me is, who cares? It's just money. Lawsuits are different, but money is money. You can raise $8 billion, not easily, but quickly when you're playing in billionaire and millionaire playgrounds. $8 billion ain't shit.
I'm not going to raise $8 billion for a Ford Pinto when I can go buy a Ferrari for it.
Casual.
Where are you going to buy a Ferrari at? What's the Ferrari to FTX?
I got $8 billion. I can buy them anywhere I want.
I can make a Ferrari for fucking.
No, can you though?
Now, if you can get a kit Ferrari, yeah, you could build a kit car.
Exactly, it's fake.
Well, I mean, that's what FTX is now, apparently.
So it's a crypto kit car.
But that's the thing. You gotta let this shit shake out, man. You gotta let it shake out. And lawsuits are a legit reason of a no. I will give Jaime that. Lawsuits, fuck that. But if it's just money, guys, if it's just money, don't count them out.
But here's what it's better suited as. You know why it's really cool that it was FTX with what was it, Tom Brady? What'd you say his name was?
Yeah, Tom Brady.
Is he like a CEO or something?
He's the guy who like open mouth
kisses his
kids. With his mouth.
But it's cool that he has that kind of following to make that kind of noise, because this is more a lightning rod to regulation. This is how in the stock world we have the PDT. It's a pattern day trading rule because everyone just started losing way too much. It was affecting the economy. So I'm glad it creates this much noise because someone gets burned. If we bail them out, then it's just another bad story with bad headlines, and it's just like crypto is just too volatile right now.
Yes,
burn this thing down and then create that regulation so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, unless you get the next CZ into the driver's seat and you right the ship, or put CZ in charge of it as long as there's not lawsuits.
CZ doesn't want anything to do with it.
That's what I'm saying, which looks like it's not going to be that way since he stepped away. I get that. So again, I will concede to lawsuits. I'll concede to that. I get that. But if
there's
it
no
is
real
just
change
money,
that happens though. What changes there if they just come in and bail it out? Someone else buys it out. Sweet. It's the same name, has the same rep.
Yes.
Like there's no good with it. Like,
yeah, but Don, what you discount is that the crypto mentality is short as shit, bro. Like you don't understand. Like people who got burned in Luna and people who are burned right now in this winter, they will forget all that shit in 6 months tops. And new money constantly pours in. You have under 5% of the total population that even understands and is in the cryptocurrency space. So all you have is new money. It's like freshmen coming in from middle school into high school. It's freaking new, fresh meat all the time. Crypto memory is short. People will get burned and drink their lives away because they got burned. And in 6 months, they're right back in doing the same shit. Right? I mean, it's just the truth of the matter.
I'll
It's
never
just
drink ever again.
yeah,
right?
but
So
this
they
is
cry
micro
and then
to
they
take
move
off.
on and all this new money comes in and maybe this is just a scotch that I'm drinking that's talking, but I'm just saying, I mean, the fact that we're an hour and 44 minutes in goes to say I'm buzzing, but just saying, what if lawsuits aside?
Yeah.
No.
So my what if,
No.
my what if is this: I'm the billionaire. I'm looking at this. I just saw CZ be like, "Bitch, I ain't touching the." I'm not touching this. I'm out. You know.
And it's fair,
If I see that,
but why?
why?
Why
No.
is the reason?
But looking at your opportunity, Tim, I'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna line up to the people that's owed.
Yes.
And as soon as it goes bankrupt, I'm buying it for pennies on the dollar
Correct.
instead of the 8 billion with lawsuits.
Right.
Fair. If you want to do it that way and strategize it, I'm all about it. But the point of the matter is somebody comes in on the background and resuscitates this thing and turns it into what it should be. Who knows? And to me, it makes sense that the athletic world does it because they're associated with it already by the likes of the Tom Brady's and the stadiums named after it. So that's fair. Attach it to FanDuel. My God, you're printing money now, right?
Yeah. The problem is Tom Brady actually lost his ass.
I know. Which
Yeah,
is
because he
all
had it
the
in
incentive
FTT.
Yeah.
of
He had an
all the
FTT.
incentive in the world for him to go, look, I never asked him for shit, bro. He goes to Jim Irsay. He goes to
Tom Brady ain't asking for shit.
he goes to all the owners and he's like, listen, for the last 12 years, I have made the NFL a shit ton of money by playing my best and being the GOAT.
And they're gonna say,
Now I'm
your
asking
money.
you each for 500 million.
No, that's not
Right?
happening.
You think
That's 8
people are
billion.
human?
There's 32 teams in the NFL.
No, it ain't
No,
happening.
Tom Brady's a number. They squared up with Tom Brady when they paid him his check.
Yeah.
And you played the game, cool. That's why you made as much as you did. Like no one, NFL didn't know Tom Brady any favors. That's not how the business world
I didn't
works.
say you owe him anything. I'm just saying we
reached
just
out,
got done
right?
talking about how relationships are the most important thing ever.
It
All I'm
is.
saying is just don't count this out. Bitch, I cannot wait for the next 6 months. And if this comes to fruition,
I
will
know,
told you so,
Tim.
like you guys have never seen. Like
Tim, you'd be a legend. I promise you.
Yeah. That would be if that happened. That would be the craziest shit in the history of
Listen,
finance.
yeah.
That no one
WTF of
else-
the day.
I will
And when you speak,
gloat.
I'd shut the fuck up.
I will gloat
Listen.
and I will gloat. I will clip this clip and I will spam it over every social media on the planet.
I'm gonna
We'll
say what I'm
help
gonna
you.
like. That would be the equivalent.
Oh shit! Peter came back
I
in.
know Peter came back. So this will be the
You done
equivalent.
Look.
Hold on. This will be the equivalent of like I don't know. Lawrence Taylor going and trying to say fucking Enron. Like that would be the equivalent. of that.
No, I've been listening.
That motherfucker's gonna pounce his way to do it too. He'll just knock out.
I've been
the
listening to all this, and I actually, Tam has actually convinced me that there is a good reason.
No, don't feed it, dude.
Come on,
Man.
Oh,
I mean,
shit.
I think her most solid point is it's just money. I mean, let's not be deceived. If we harken back to, to just a decade, I mean, they're just printing it, right? How's the meme go? Why save money when they're just printing it?
Money printer go burr.
So like $8 billion, man. Let me give you some context. 20 years ago, a startup, there was no such thing as pre-seed, pre-seed. There's no such thing as pre-ICO, pre-ICO, VIP, ICO. None of this shit. Like there was only a seed, and generally that was like $50,000. This is like 2 decades ago. Now you can have seed rounds for startups that are $2.5 million, right?
Mhm.
And now a Series A, like back to 2 decades ago, a Series A at 5 million was like, dude, fucking crushing it, bro. Now a Series A is like 150 million. So like valuations from the venture side, from the private equity side, from the hedge fund side, like the money printing that's going on, $8 billion, man, that isn't actually that much money.
So
I mean,
Thank
that
you.
would be
$8 billion.
I mean, so I can see a reality where someone would come in and say, you know what, the asset's fucked, but I can take it over and I can make it better. And
So that's the hang up right there. 8 billion is not anything if the value is 10 billion. If you're getting something at a discount, 8 billion is great.
oh,
8 billion for trash is a lot of money.
I'm not missing the economics. There's no solid economic reason why you should throw $8 billion at it, other than it's a property that can be recontextualized and become profitable, right? Because all of that $8 billion is not going to the company. It's going to the company to pay debts. So it's the company is just a pass-through entity as they pay down debt and pay all their debtors.
Yep.
So there's like, to be an acquirer of this entity at $8 billion, you just get you're basically paying for a public shell. But
It's an expensive shell.
it's an expensive ass shell.
Yes.
And actually many of you guys on this call have gone through that with me around buying public shells for these types of things. And how that can be a pain in the ass.
Yes.
So,
Right.
so like I could see reason. So I'm coming. I came back on just to say hi, but also just to say, Tamp. I can see reason why there could be. It's probably a shot in the dark, to be honest. But we live in crypto land. Like, is there any precedent for it? No. Could there be? Are new precedents being set in Web3 all the time? Yes, actually, yes. And so, I just wanted to come to Tamp's aid because y'all are being a bunch of dingleberries, man.
Hey, I'm not in opposition.
You know what I am told all the time is that your ideas are not big enough. I was told that by Peter, as a matter of fact. You know what? He's like, hey, come take a look at this property. And I'm like, yeah, we could do this with this little corner, And he's like, fuck that. You're not thinking big enough. I want the whole fucking thing changed. And I'm like,
okay.
Oh.
So that's
like, okay.
fine.
So why not?
So
why not?
Okay, fine. Here's my tin hat theory.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Here's my tin hat scenario. Elon and CZ are tight now.
Yes.
And I know he just bought Twitter for $44 billion, but
Elon's
CZ's got
broke.
CZ's got a shit ton of money.
Yeah, he does.
So if there's anybody that was going to pick it up, then and Elon obviously tight with crypto too. He was actually on ARK Invest podcast this morning, which, by the way, it was Jack Dorsey, Elon, and Kathy Wood. They only had 800 concurrents live. this morning.
Wait, hold up.
Because that's a scam.
That's not the full story.
That's a scam. That's a scam.
Yeah.
That's a scam. The scammers, what they do is they take recordings of ARK Invest and these live streams. Sometimes they get it behind closed doors. Doesn't matter. The point
How
is,
many coins did you give him?
the point is that you watched a live stream that
long
was
time ago.
ripped so that you could send your Bizity Bitcoin over to that
damn.
address, and then you receive 90 million ETH back for doing so.
Max bidding.
But
Yes,
think about
max
it.
bidding.
If
So you got-
CZ said, hey, I'm going to look at acquiring Binance, or I'm looking at acquiring FTX. And then he's like, just kidding, I'm going to pull out. He had to look under the hood.
Cam's back on
right?
this shit again.
Right. he had to look under the hood. And now he calls whoever. He calls whoever, and he's like, listen, I looked under the hood outside of lawsuits, which Jaime, I will concede to that. If he's like, yo, I looked under the hood, it's bad, but if you flip this bitch and get it, however you get it, whether it's for 8 billion or pennies on the dollar, if you flip it, I'll be in it in an LLC that owns an LLC that owns an LLC, and you'll never know it's me. Why not?
So here, answer this question. I have $8 billion. How much would it cost me to just make my own?
A lot, man. This shit is already on the side of stadiums, bro. It's already done. You don't need to make your own. You don't need to make your own. Why? Why would I build a brand new house when I got the house of my dreams right here? It just needs $50K worth of work.
Because the
Like
house
I need
you're
to
gonna
change the
build
wallpaper
costs
and redo the
$4 billion.
bathroom.
It needs $8 billion worth of work.
I mean, you find that all
fine.
in due
Then
diligence.
fuck it. Let's not say 8 billion, and let's strategize it. Let's say, okay, we're going to get it, we're just not going to do it for 8 billion, right? We're going to hold off. We're going to do all these weird strategies, and we'll get it for pennies of the dollar. We'll get it for 2 billion. That's even better for my argument.
I think we're also probably insider from Wall Street Journal. I mean, let's be honest. What does insider from Wall Street Journal actually mean? In most cases, it means they just made it up.
It's a college intern writing a story. Yeah.
But let's just give them the benefit of the doubt, and they actually was an insider that said that Sam Bankman-Fried asked for $8 billion. That's just a number. It might actually not be $8 billion that he needs to pay off debt. It might be $2 billion. He just might be blowing it up for OpEx, CapEx reasons, investment reasons, securities reasons, lawsuit reasons, risk mitigation reasons. He's swarmed with lawyers, so the lawyers are going to get their $1 billion of fees that they're going to make. So, I think you could make a case that the $8 billion is just like a holy fuck. I have a deep hole. I don't know what the number is, but $8 billion sounds like it could help me.
Do you think any part of that has to do with like what he had in his numbers evaluated the current like cryptocurrency holdings, and then because we're in a bear market, those holdings aren't worth that yet, so he's inflating it just to make sure if we stay in a bear that he's functionally slid us into even further?
He could be future pricing it for protection and giving him a little bit of, I wouldn't say it's not arbitrage, right, but to give him a little bit of a slack, right? When
cushion
it comes
for the
to
pushing.
Yeah, cushion for the pushing. Yeah,
that's about fat people. That's a fat person reference, Brandon.
No, it isn't.
Dude, this is going to shit.
Cheers. What? This is a Lagavulin.
You just reminded me of like middle school in the early 90s, man. Like your mom is so fat, man. when she plays hopscotch, she goes Argentina, Brazil, America. Right? Like cushion for the push. That was 1994 was probably the last time I heard that shit, Brandon.
Yeah, but here's the deal: if Sam really needs 8, you gotta believe the sucker already has at least 40% of it. He might not have all of it, but he's got people on deck.
But Elon did just sell $4 billion worth of Tesla.
I just want Do Kwon to come in.
50% of my thesis is already done.
$4 billion.
But that was also done before this crash that no one saw coming.
Where's Do Kwon, man? Where is he at? He's supposed to be saving the day. I heard he's in Europe actually. Am I changing the subject?
I heard that too.
I heard
he's out of the woods now. I mentioned that earlier. He's got a ton of weight off his shoulders now. He popped up on Kobe's live stream yesterday and was laughing, about jail jokes and whatnot. It was beautiful. I loved it.
Someone that had been in jail told him it ain't that bad if you go to jail.
Yeah, bro, it ain't that bad. He said, good to know.
Just find the biggest guy in jail and make him your best friend.
Yeah, but what's the compromise for making him your best friend?
You don't get hit.
Hold on. You gotta see a few things. Hold on. You gotta taste a couple things, but
it was Martin Shkreli that said that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
pharma guy.
Shkreli, the pharma guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't hate on that guy. You can't hate on that guy. I mean, that guy played pure economics. He played the game that no one liked to talk about. He created a massive arbitrage on the differential of how much it should have cost versus how much he should charge. I mean, like when I was looking, I don't know why we're going all the way back. Why am I defending this? Why am I defending this Wu-Tang guy again?
No, but I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
And Peter,
you want to defend him on an $8 billion show. now this is you.
This one's on me. This one's on me. But he's king of the degens, man. Like he is the degen du jour. So there's a lot of respect I can give to him because he essentially is Wall Street bets.
But he forgot the human aspect of this whole thing.
I think he's an autist. He doesn't have the
empathy
mental capacity for
he's
empathy.
artistic.
Oh, is that what it's called?
He's artistic. Yeah.
Yeah, so he went for the numbers, removed all the emotions, not realizing that lives were lost because they couldn't gain access to
Do
this.
you think Sam Bankman-Fried thinks about the lives that he's impacting now?
No, clearly, and he's paying for it. Versus CZ, I feel, was thinking of the entire community and the entire industry.
Yeah, that's why
the difference.
that's why CZ was so transparent about it. Right.
Yes.
I think that's one of the things I remember earlier in the conversation, like 2 hours ago, when you guys started this. Don Fran was talking about it, or brought something up that made me think, well, if you've been following CZ for as long as many of us have been following him from the very beginning, I mean, come on, guys. Can we just take a moment and respect the man? Like
He's
we were
visionary.
there. We were there when he was beginning this Binance thing, right? I remember.
I was there.
Yeah, I remember almost all of the major events when he, you know, one of the big things when he launched NFTs, and then he went into creating his own chain. Like, these were huge ideas. Second layer, right? Now he's moving into soulbound tokens, which is something that I want to make sure that we talk a lot more about in the future. Like he literally built what he has from nothing, and he's been transparent with the community all the way. And frankly speaking, if you can look at one major operator in the Web3 digital currency space today, CZ almost hasn't made any major missteps, which is just, think about all your other major operators out there, right? You know, your Brian Armstrong, Coinbase, your obviously your Sam Bankman-Fried, your guys who bought into Luna, guys who got tattoos. I won't say their names. I don't want to give them any more, love than they need to get. I mean, there's a lot of people who've made such bad. I've made bad decisions.
All of us have. All of us.
Yeah.
Peter, did you hear what I said about CZ earlier? Like my hard stance on him right now?
No,
I
repeat
said that right now, full stop, that CZ is easily the most powerful and influential person in all of cryptocurrency right now. And that the only way he can be dethroned from that spot right now is if Satoshi came into the light, moved coins out of the Genesis Bitcoin wallet, and made himself, herself, or themselves known. Full stop. The man is CZ, period.
He currently, and I think you were actually touching on something that we should probably expound out to the rest of the group here, is that is something that I think he'll get flack for. I think people will see the power and influence that he wields, whether it's directly or indirectly, whether it's within his grasp or whether it's on the periphery. I mean, what he does resounds within the overall Web3 and digital currency communities in mass. And one could easily say that his entire community actually spans the breadth and entirety of the cryptocurrency space. So the entire crypto globe is actually his community, right? I mean, if you look at, let's say, a Dan Larimer, right, with EOS, or with his what was his social media site before that he had,
Twitch.
No, what was it called? I used to be a big part of it. Steam it, right?
It,
so, and before that was Filecoin or whatever. Like he goes from project to project. So Dan Larimer is an example of a community that just follows Dan, right? There are communities that just follow like Do Kwon. There are communities that just follow these personalities like Bitcoin Cash, Roger Ver, right? Charlie Lee, Litecoin, not so much anymore because he sold the top.
Spaz.
Well done. You gotta respect the guy. He did it.
Though.
Yeah.
Tucker looks great.
You actually,
Chuck.
Yeah.
Chuck.
Yeah,
Chuck,
Tamp was chilling with Chucky.
Tamp right here was chilling next to Chuck. A good friend of mine back in the day. Sold the top. Gotta love you, bro.
But he knew who you were. He said, "That's your boss." He knew who you were.
I love that guy. But you clearly see the point, right? Right. CZ spans literally the entirety of the cryptocurrency community. So
world builder.
Yeah. So yeah. I can see the pundits getting into it and saying, come on. The Redditors and the pundits love digging into this stuff around what's this guy's true power, right? And then you end up with a CoffeeZilla right, 35-minute video on, the deep dive of this guy, we're going to find those Reddit or internet sleuths who are going to say, let's truly see CZ's power. And they're going to be like, he touches 2.9 billion people a day and he influences this type. Like, they're going to be people who
So
do
did
that.
Epstein, though, but that was different.
Oh, damn.
Jesus.
So,
Christ.
as
No,
far
no,
as the
but-
crypto community goes, is it better for the crypto community to have another Amazon, one powerhouse like him, or is it better to spread the power out?
That's not
Like,
a fair statement, though.
No.
Alibaba is more powerful than Amazon.
Well, I'm just saying in general, like they're like a monopoly. Like they have everything. If competition
okay.
comes, they'll just
Understood.
buy it or create it themselves. So is it better for the crypto community to have one source like that, or
It's a
or
risk.
to spread it out?
It's a risk.
It's
It's
a
a
huge-
huge.
We
risk.
talked about this morning, and
Yeah.
that was the question that I asked too. Is like, what kind of risk does it pose for CZ to have this type of power? And
Right.
we touched on that a little.
Central point of failure, and that
Yeah,
is the entire
right,
anti-ethos of decentralized
If
finance.
CZ gets assassinated tomorrow, like what the fuck happens?
What's gonna? Yeah. If him taking down a douchebag causes this in the market, imagine the guy who's been a champion to the entire industry and who hasn't like went political, kissing babies for this power. No, he's actually
Legit.
earned this power through transparency, through
And-
building.
And he actually acts as a benevolent dictator in that
Yes.
in that role as it
Correct.
currently stands today, right?
Correct.
And so he is merely one misstep from, and man, like you wouldn't want to be the man.
Correct.
True.
You wouldn't want to be the
Heavy is the
man.
head. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, man. You're right, Peter. And we talked
Absolutely.
this is like Rambo.
Mhm.
If Rambo dies, the mission's over. That is a major problem, especially when you represent something that's supposed to be permissionless.
And that's what makes Bitcoin so powerful, because there
Yes.
is no head. There is no king to kill, right?
Right.
And so that allows the attack vector of an individual who is squishy, right, and can be made dead real quick. You know, I think that's what makes Bitcoin so much more powerful. But at the same time, we have this really nice benevolent dictator called ZZ who's doing his damnedest. But I'm telling you, man, I see a season, and I said this earlier in the stream, but I see a season where he's going to get roasted because people are not going to like it. People aren't going to. You know, it's what is it? You are so you're so involved and you're so ingrained in something and you're so close to it for such a long time that you end up despising this thing, right? I forget I said it wrong, but you guys understand my point, right?
Yeah.
Familiarity breeds contempt, right? That's what
It's
it is,
right.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
And
point.
then people questioning why does he have so much power without understanding the history behind why he is where he is.
Yeah, but no one goes back in history. All they see is,
I
man,
know.
all they see is the news bits on TMZ that says Chinaman
Yes.
owns billions of dollars of American retail investment.
Yes.
Gotta stop
Yep.
these Chinese people.
Exactly. Not realizing he had to flee China because China was going to try to
But that
crush the
doesn't make
Chinese man.
headlines.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And fuck Do Kwon, man. He's given a bad rap to the Korean people. That's not good either.
Yeah.
Fuck that
Right.
guy.
So
Not that I'm
No,
not that
Peter.
I'm Korean or anything. I don't care.
Real quick.
Peter, he's the only motherfucker in this line of collapse that is trying to build back. He's the only one that said, "Listen, I will give you back what you lost. As far as a 1-to-1, stick with me, and I will build us back." There's
hasn't let
no one
go.
else saying that shit.
Tim,
And I
you don't have
something
to.
there,
You don't have
man.
to defend me. That was kind of a joke.
I was gonna say,
Fucking
I was
Scott,
literally-
man,
I
I
was
should
literally-
log
know.
off of this thing.
I was like, soon as he said "fuck Do Kwon," I was like, "Oh, she gonna get triggered real hard right
No,
now."
Here
not
comes.
triggered. Just like, man,
Yeah.
like he's the
No, but-
only one trying to
Yes.
right the ship
Yep.
that he
And
didn't
that's-
even wrong. He didn't wrong this shit. Somebody that didn't like him slapped him in the fair.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Well,
But
don't
he's the
have
only
your nuts
motherfucker
hanging out. That's his problem.
True.
He had his nuts hanging out.
100% way too transparent. Like you gave the enemy all the info they needed to exploit your weakness.
Right.
Fair, lesson learned. But he's the only one. Let's see if FTX does fall into the ashes. Let's see if Sam Bankman-Fried here comes the Scott.
SBF.
Let's
There
see
you
if
go.
SBS says, "Hang on, I got you.
You're not
Build
even.
back
You're all,
better.
you're all over the place, girl.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, we're taking QA in the YouTube chat. So anyone
Let's do it.
who has questions for this whole team, throw your questions in there. If they're not too wild, we'll ask them. If they
I
are
do
too
wanna ask
wild,
you
we'll
guys-
definitely ask them.
I want to ask one more question for you guys though, because this I think a lot of people have this. So going forward, if someone gets too much power, how do you get them out of it? What's the course of action? Whether it's tinfoil hat or not, how do you get the power? How do you divide the power from CZ? You know, like in the stock world, it's you got regulation, you got politicians. If you don't keep them happy, they're going to attack you from that angle. But how, when someone develops this much power, what's the course of action the crypto world can take to divide it? Like, is it you got to just smash this guy out? Is he a target you have to take out, or is there other ways to peacefully do it?
So you can already see those pushes forward, like the fact that Elon got involved with Twitter, and all of us complained about the bots and the shadow banning and all that bullshit that occurs that we all see, but no one would do anything about it. So the fact that Elon jumped in there and then CZ jumped right behind him, even before he bought, he says, only if Elon buys, I'll give a $500 million to the deal, because
Not
he
that big
knew.
of a deal.
Correct. Of course, not
I
a
mean,
big
$8 billion is
deal.
not that big of a deal. So
Correct.
That's my point. 500 million ain't a big deal.
Right. But that's what I see happening with CZ. So he's continuing to make the right moves, like the proof of reserves right now, which is something that if SBF would have done, would have made clear to the world that this motherfucker did not have the funds to be able to support a bank run. Sam
Bankman-Fried.
run. Yeah, there you go.
Yes,
Yes.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, you
I see what you did there.
Okay, never
Sam
mind.
Bank Run.
Yeah, sorry, it's the beer talking. But he's establishing the mechanisms for someone else to join. The thing is, and that's one of the things that Peter is always speaking of us as a team. Peter doesn't sign NDAs. Why? Because no one can move as quickly as we do as a team. It's like, fuck it. If you think you can run this idea that we're running before you, Mr. Investor, then bitch, give it a try, because you won't make it. So I see CZ being that fast, where it's like he's doing things as quickly as possible. He just needs the partners, the industry partners, to come in and co-build to where he can now start offloading part of that crown. The challenge is he's earned it. He's earned it with the community, and now the community is willing to crown him. The problem is there's this centralization risk that's occurring. So it's just going to take the community, the industry, to finally co-build as quickly as he can and continue the move forward. I think that's the only way to do it, Don.
Well said, Jaime.
Yeah, well said. And us as operators, like we know this way too truly. Like, ideas are not that special. They're a dime a dozen. What is truly difficult is execution. Like, you have to show up every single day, give your complete undivided attention and focus, cooperation with other people, get beside your feelings, sometimes get besides your own I can't talk right now.
preconceived notions.
Preconceived notions. Thank you. Freaking A, dude. Really, you have to kind of like really sacrifice a lot in order to see eye on the prize, what's the vision, and just to build it. And even then, you might run into technical, logistic, implications that are just hard to overcome. So, I think just seeing what CZ has built, like truly, that is an insane amount of effort that has been put into that. And he's called the right shots, like Peter has said. This dude has consistently seen snares and avoided them, consistently seen opportunities and doubled down on them. And it's just really impressive. So I think as far as like kingmaking goes, that's why we're building decentralized infrastructure, because if you have decentralized infrastructure, you don't got to be worried that one person's so influential, because even if that person were out of the equation, that person didn't have the ability to raise or destroy the entire system. That's because it's decentralized, right?
And I think we're not being fair. I don't know. I might know a little bit more than some of you guys, but not to a degree where it actually really matters. It's mostly just conjecture at this point. But I am aware, or I can say that I am aware of, that CZ has really good counsel. and he has great people around him helping him make the best informed decisions around these really complex and complicated ideas that are happening in the market with massive ramifications. I mean, CZ's been in the game as an operator just as long as we have. He has achieved a level of success that is indescribable, right? And he has influence, and he has access to literally everybody. Like, if he wanted to meet Joe Biden, I'm sure he could meet Joe Biden. I mean,
Yes.
He's half dead already, so it's not hard to find him.
Just follow the smells and the kisses of little children.
He's a fucking zombie, so it's not
Listen
hard
for the sound of smelling children, and you'll find
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
he don't move fast, guys. So I think that's just one thing that I would think we need to trust in CZ, that he has great counsel and he has great people around him, giving him the best risk assessments, diligence around these types of deals. And frankly, they sniffed under the hood, and then they of course using these. I don't know why I sniffed
Didn't I just do that?
A good
Can you
sniff.
please sniff the Rubal? Please.
Rubal! That's from 2017-18.
Yeah, 2017. This
I
is
got a pair too.
the first gift. I had to think about what the fuck is this thing. My first gift from a YouTube subscriber. Yeah, from an Aussie. So
you know what that
from
is?
down
It's
under.
the single funniest live stream that you ever put out. Was the Rubal sniffing?
You nasty.
No,
You can get them
You're
for
nasty.
$70 on eBay, by the way.
But do you guys remember when the Korean TV KBS, when they flew into Atlanta to interview me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember.
Do you remember?
That's why you were worried about it, because one of them gave it to you, and you're like, "Shit, he might be watching. I'm disrespecting him because I'm sniffing his balls."
No, but Camp, I think you were there though.
Yeah.
Or at
I
least-
was.
But so long story short for everybody, back in 17, when I bought the Bitcoin Lamborghini, I was all over Russia. They love me out there, by the way. They love me in the mother Russia.
Comrade, you
They
do good.
love me because I was the face of every scam in 2017, 18, 19 in Russia. I would know because they were like, dude, you're like, what is this? Is Ukrainian? I don't know, man.
You just used your
Look
face.
great.
Yeah.
But the Korean news, KBS, Korean broadcasting, whatever, they love the story so much that they flew out an entire film team to do an entire segment on this Korean guy in America who had bought Bitcoin at ridiculous price and ended up buying some luxury goods with it. And we drove them in the Lambo down here. They had all their cameras set up, checking out the entire scene. And one of the producers, this thing is hanging. These Rubals are hanging here. He goes up to it.
What does this smell like? Oh, sir.
He starts poking it, and then he goes like for real. He did this shit. And I remember hitting you guys up on the Bitcoin pub, and I was like, guys, look, he's sniffing the ball.
Is this a custom in
True
your
story.
country? It isn't.
And then he ran for president of the United States.
True story, guys. Some of you were there.
Oh,
Jesus
I don't think
Christ.
I fell out of my chair that night. I
It
was
was
laughing
crazy.
so hard. I could
Yeah.
not even with that.
Oh my God. Well,
All
with that,
gas, no brakes.
with that, guys, I just want to thank everybody who was on the stream. Peter, Tamp, Don, Jaime, and Brandon. Thanks for making the impromptu appearances for our unscheduled stream, and more importantly, thank you to the viewers for watching and supporting us in that way. If you wouldn't mind also checking us out on Discord, the link is in the description. It's absolutely free to join. You can continue the conversation there. We will be live again, providing that nothing else crazy happens between now and Friday. Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern time, we'll be having a special guest as well. And Tam, just for you, I wanted to let you know that the FTX Stadium has been renamed already. So that's gonna do it for today's stream, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys on Friday.
Have a
See
great
y'all
one.
later.
We do this for you guys.
That's right.